All right, we're in the before time. Oh. I try to drink water. Ugh. Ten-second warning. Three, two, one. Okay. I do believe that means everything is going. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another weekend of What's Up? The segment where the Studio Mega Boys just talk about whatever for a few hours. And hopefully something entertaining is happening on your screen.
Your stream screen.
Stream.
Your shroom.
Let's see here.
Well, we're starting off.
Yeah.
That means I would like to remember to thank our wonderful patrons who make this possible.
Ooh.
Like Admin Heart, Blackest OG, Call Me Zed, Carlos, Dragon, Ferris, Fight Iceberg, Jeremy Vasquez, GDV 1000, Just the Fage, John Sandoval, Starlight, Legendary Boss Hunter, Theme Kez, Regent Raptor, Rise of Kenji, Rogue Robin, Shrivar, Empire, some guy named Bob, and Baron the Crow. If you like what we do and want to see more, consider supporting a Patreon. And so we're going.
We going.
Yes, speaking for a few hours, I do have family over, so I'm going to be a little lower timber than usual, because at some point there are children who'll have to go to bed, so I'm going to try and not be super loud. But also that'll be easy because if you've watched this week's episode. Sorry, I'm like low energy, but also I'm trying to say words too fast, so I'm like if you watched Let's Like FGO today, which was recorded yesterday, you'll know that I was heckin' alive, super electric, rock and roll. That is not today, actually. I'm way lower down today. I'm kind of like congested and a little dry-mouthed. Not entirely sure why, but them's the breaks, so we're here.
We here, though.
And we've got a few things to talk about. I mean, the most obvious one is what you see on the screen before you, which is it's the Armored Core. It's Armored Core week, everybody. The weekend of Armored Core. I'm sorry, Armored Core TM 6 Fires of Rubicon TM. As I can see from our preview slice. Sure we're on live chat. But yeah, so game came out yesterday. We were initially not sure, both of us, if we were going to get our copies right away, but Amazon kind of last minute got a lot of people who were gonna get theirs like Monday. Just was like, nah, it's fine, and got it release day. At this point, I'm fairly certain Lucky has played quite a bit more than I have. Because I took a break to do some 14 yesterday. Damn it. Yeah, this guy's a little squirrely. have done this mission before. But yeah, all in all, game's out. I mean, I think it's doing pretty well in review. In, ironically, critical reviews, doing very well. We'll discuss later about what other people say are reviewing. But yeah, I mean, I put a few hours into the game. You put some hours into the game. You're currently getting heckin' blasted.
A bit.
Nah, you got it with the sword. But yeah, so Armored Core 6, it came out.
It's a FromSoft game.
Is good. Yes, it is very much a FromSoft game. But honestly, and I think that'll get into kind of the other topics around like how other people are like feeling about this game and stuff. You know, it's not a Soulsborne. Let's start there. It's not a Soulsborne. Anybody who thought it was those people who were insisting on how it would be like Dark Souls, you were wrong. You were always wrong. You were always going to be wrong. And now the facts have shown that you were wrong.
I don't consider it a Soulsborne, but I do like to think that the lessons that FromSoft has learned from making Soulsborne game is reflected in this.
Yes, it has. It definitely has their what's the term? I think TV Tropes uses this, but I've heard other places too. It has their creative fingerprint. Because, like, you know, basic mechanics-wise, you know, I'm sure you guys will see Lucky do a few of these as we go through. You know, you've got a limited number of healing items, which are on a quick button prompt, though using repair packs doesn't, you know, have the same kind of weight as, like, pulling out your Estus flask and taking a sweet hit of Gatorade, right, of taking that Sunny D. But you have limited heals, you know. There is a stagger system built in. You know, both you and enemies have a stun bar. That's your attitude control system. If it gets overloaded, your robot gets locked in place for a little bit. It kind of has systems similar to like how they do weight loads, in that your giant robot frame has a weight limit.
That was always an Armored Core, though, so...
Yeah, honestly, in that case, they probably got it more from Armored Core than the other way around, but, like, if this is your first Armored Core game, which is, it's going to be a lot of people's Armored Core game, it's not technically my first, but I think this is the first full one I've actually, like, purchased and intend to, like, play through. I think I've mentioned before that, I played the demo at some point for, I think Armored Core 4 was For Answer. And on the PS3, listen, the subtitles are sometimes confusing. But yeah, like, so there's systems that will be familiar if you've only played FromSoft Soulsborne entries. That is Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1 through 3, Bloodborne, and Elden Ring. I feel a little bad for Elden Ring that it gets excluded from, like, the genre title. Because, you know, it came later, even though it's the one that's technically, like, the most successful.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it gets that success from learning from the other things. But yeah. So, like you said, there's definitely their fingerprint in it. Another thing I want to say is, I think it's definitely got their fingerprint in how it teaches you gameplay.
Yeah.
And I guess we can fork this into the great filtering. Because that point allegedly is the you know, right at the front there.
Yeah.
So people are reportedly being filtered by the tutorial quote unquote boss. I mean, like, in the grand scheme of things, I don't even think that guy's really that boss like.
I think he's boss enough.
He has an HP bar, I guess, which counts.
Like, you can't just, like, two-shot him with something.
True. But obviously, and I believe earlier Armored Core games were like that. There's a little bit of differentiation, right, between, like, giant war machines and other mechs that are good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Lucky has been bodying the Test MT there.
No, it's an AC.
Times. Oh, it is actually an AC. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure on the definition because the game hasn't explained that to me, and I'm not sure it ever will. I'm sure my handler would just tell me to shut up and get back to work.
Handler Walter be like that.
Yeah. Which is kind of like the point I'm getting at in that the game's approach is you have so far one continuous voice in the game, which is you have a handler. As far as I can tell, the pilot is basically like a non-person.
I think
You
that might
are
almost be
a,
literally.
Yeah, you are like a cyborg.
Fourth
You know,
generation
you've got
something.
Yeah. So you like definitely like parts of you are artificial. Maybe even all of you is artificial. In my mind, I'm like, okay, did they just grab like a corpse and throw some robot parts in there? But like especially early game, you basically have zero agency. Walter fires you onto the planet Rubicon, tells you to, get good and get to work. Like, for that intro boss, I will say this, like, to play a little bit of devil's advocate, the game very clearly has a thing it wants you to do, right?
Right.
There is a quote-unquote solution. There is a dominant strategy to that boss. The game doesn't really explain that to you. You're just supposed to figure it out. The only thing Walter says that kind of alludes to it is he mentions, use your superior air control to avoid explosions on the ground. Which, thinking about it in that context, is like, okay, if you don't know any better, he's just, giving you, like, general video game tips. Once, having beaten that boss, I'm like, no, that's your one hint as to how to actually do it. He mentions you have superior air control. There you go. You get up in the air and use your superior maneuverability to get him. Because you won't win a shoot fight.
No, you will not.
That giant helicopter outranges, outtracks, and outdamages you.
Can't out melee you though.
No. And of course, that also introduces you to, like, even though that there is a tutorial, there's a training mission for that later, that introduces you to stagger a little because, you give it a couple of laser swords and that does the stagger, locks its attitude control, and that means you do all your attacks are direct hits, which are just a fancy mecha name for critical hits, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I get D on that guy a lot, too.
Like I was
He's just trying to improve your rank overall.
I'm trying to get A ranks. I'm not gonna get S. I'm not good enough for fucking S. I know me. But like trying to at least trying to get to B's at least.
Mm-hmm.
Let me switch back to sword. Ooh. Well, actually, I got some cat.
But yeah, so that allegedly people are being filtered by that guy, the helicopter guy. I don't know if they're like exaggerating about it or what. It feels like the kind of thing that, like, if you're actually trying to, like, understand the game and learn. And I say this, by the way, as me. I've talked about before about my love-hate relationship with specifically Soulsborne games, and like sometimes the hands-off nature of those games. Like, but I'm also genuinely trying to be like, okay, what, this guy's just shooting stuff at me. What do I do? Can I dodge the shoot? No. I mean, you can kind of, but not really. Like, the helicopter's missiles are absolutely bullshit and will just go around buildings. But like, I experimented around. It took me around 3 tries to get it. And technically, I think I figured out exactly what I needed to do the second try. It's just I'd burned through all my repair packs, so I got obliterated. Because he does do that. You will get stun locked very easy and then shot full of holes. So, it's not complex. You just have to start experimenting and be like, okay, it says I have better air control. What does that mean? Can I get up in his grill? Yes, I can. Cool. Then you just have to execute. And I know you said earlier off mic that you had some trouble executing because the guy would go outside of bounds of the boss arena.
Yep.
Very cheap, yeah. Didn't experience much of that myself, but yeah, it considering how, like, immediately after that flexible this game seems to become, because there's a lot to this game. You can do your own custom decals. There's a lot of color schemes you can do. You can do your own custom color schemes, and that's just cosmetics. Like I said, I've only played the game for like 2-3ish hours. Already there's plenty of different options for like parts and stuff. Obviously, some are just better, as you go down the line with it seems like as you go down the line with a decent selection of your boosters, fire control, and power plants, most of those are just intended to be straight line improvements, though I suspect there'll probably be some very quirky stuff as we get later into the game. But there's like genuine flexibility in your mech parts. Do you want bigger, bulkier arms? Do you want heavier legs? Do you want lighter, skinnier legs so you can, boost faster and farther? There's, you have 4 weapon slots, so you've actually got like some genuine customization there. You can do, I think swords are only on your left.
Yep.
So you can do sword and gun. You can choose to do double gun though, if you want.
Double trigger, baby.
You've got two shoulder slots. Right now, you're rocking double missile launchers on shoulders.
Yep. 2 vert rocks.
Yes, but you can also get energy barriers to actually like block attacks. And I'm sure there'll be stuff later. I've heard people talking about, like mortars and grenade launchers and things, some other weird stuff. That test AC you fight, has like a shoulder-mounted, like I can only imagine, like cruise missile launcher. Like he fires 2 big missiles which really track on you. I assume that's a part that's in the game somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
So like, there's a lot of flexibility in building. So it does. The tutorial boss fight is like honestly, genuinely kind of narrow for what this game actually is. But people who are being truly filtered by it, I think genuinely just don't want to try.
Fuck.
Oh, I mean, you don't have to kill that guy.
Yeah, but it's 24K.
It is a lot of cash. I suspect, I'm going to guess probably being able to efficiently get him probably does a lot for your rating. But
oh, come on!
The game also seems to penalize your rating for just in general bullets used and repairs used as well. Also, yes, by the way, it's a FromSoft game. That means that the camera and the lock-on is not great. Free sticking the camera is okay. Like, the game is very fast and responsive. You guys have been watching. Lucky's just fucking scooting everywhere.
All right, gotcha.
But, like, locking on is weird. Like, you turn on lock-on mode, but that doesn't necessarily, like, lock-on. No. It's more just, like, fixes the camera fixing. And I think the only things that, like, really, really, truly lock on are, guided weapons that are like, okay, we're locked onto that guy. We're going to chase him. So, yeah, it's a little oddball. It's a little fun stuff. But overall, like I said, I've only played a little bit, but I am, like, blown away even early how they've already got, like, a lot of different little styles and stuff going on. There's a lot of customization. I've seen a lot of dumb color schemes on the internet, y'all.
I have made myself 1 decal.
Nice. I have not futzed around with actually making decals yet, but I probably will at some point. But, like... Sorry, it actually pulled up on the preview. That's why I went, nice. But, like, I've seen color schemes of, like, blue and yellow and being like, I'm a minion in overalls. There's, I've seen someone, like, do all the, like, bright orange piping for, like, Nerf settings. So, yeah, like, there's a lot to this game, and to just blow it off after the literal first mission is just kind of silly.
Just trying to get to B.
And I'm not, like, saying, like, I don't get absolutely bushwhacked in this game occasionally. Like, it's still, like I said, it's still a FromSoft game. You're not paying attention, you'll get got.
I get bushwhacked constantly.
Like, there's a lot of information in this game. You've got a lot of, like, warning trackers. You've got a scan feature to look for guys that I keep forgetting to do. Though currently my scan's fairly short-ranged. A decent number of guys can see me and shoot me from a ways off. I wonder if there's, like, a quote-unquote stealth build later. Because you can catch enemies unaware, and do free direct hits that way, as well as the stagger system. Like there I think is a lot here. I've already found what is probably going to be my ranged weapon of choice for a while. Very early on, the game gave me a linear rifle, which is a railgun. Which I personally like for at least a decent number of fights because it charges, so it's if you are willing to sit and wait on the full charge, it's pretty accurate and very ammo efficient. Don't use a lot of bullets, which is good. But there's a lot of other stuff. There's hand cannons. You start with like a machine gun. I think there are like hand-mounted rocket launchers and grenade launchers and stuff too. And while this was all shown in the preview, I haven't run into any of the, like, at least that I own anyway. I did do a mission where there was an ally support who just had tank treads.
Oh, I have. I've done that one.
Yeah. But there's several different leg combos as well. Like you could have, you know, quadrupedal, tank treads, some other stuff for like truly different builds. So yeah, like, there's a lot of positives.
God, he's always... I will say, the AI do make me mad. The AI are very good at just immediately, as soon as you push a button, they know what you've done.
Yeah.
Like, the minute I push the fucking sword button, that boy's like, nope, I am just backing up, like, right now. I was like, you should have been stuck just waiting there because of your fucking,
I mean, I don't know. Obviously, this still goes into that, but I don't know yet if enemy units are bound by like their EN gauge and load.
I don't think so.
But yes, I remember from fighting this guy a couple of times as well to, you know, farm some money. Which, by the way, I greatly appreciate. Again, calling back to how it's not actually a Soulsborne game. It is, you know, mission based, and you can infinitely replay missions for more money.
It's great.
So like, that's a great feature there. Very swag money. But yeah, I definitely remember that guy doing some input reading. Like I had to, if I wanted to actually shoot him with my linear rifle, because that's just, you know, one single shot, he would just sidestep it like a freak. I had to like stun him with something else or wait until he dodged something else first and then let go of the trigger. I guess that's probably going to be like the comparison point, you know, between like, okay, this guy is, you know, a mech boss, so he's going to be like mobile and small and quick like you, and then there's going to be like, and now you must destroy giant, you know, battle fortresses. Story-wise, I mean, I don't want to say what story, lol. Though I would argue, I feel like so far this one is definitely even more narrative light than like most Dark Souls type games start out with, you know? Except maybe Bloodborne. Bloodborne's very weird.
And it's just one of those things of like, there is a story here. Something is happening. What exactly is your story? Who fucking knows?
Yeah, it's...
You're literally referred to by number. You are 621.
Mm-hmm. The general vibe I've gotten is that, and I mean this with no offense to FromSoft, the story and setting here is very boilerplate mecha. You are traveling to the planet Rubicon. Rubicon is where a resource called coral, you know, magic space rocks, was first discovered. It was going to, you know, revolutionize humanity, and then it all caught fire in a phenomena that only makes sense if you are writing a Japanese mecha story.
Oh, I need to be fast for this one.
I
huh?
see no reason why people in real life would call a stellar event the Flames of Iblis. Normally. But, yes, I know. But saying Bloodborne is weird is an understatement. I specifically meant that about the way the story is set up. But also in general, yes, Bloodborne is weird. It is an odd one out. In a lot of ways. Ways that are why I like the game, but, time and energy. But yeah, so like that's your basic boilerplate. There was a stellar event. It burned up all the coral. Did something terrible to our infrastructure, I guess. I don't know. But the planet Rubicon is not quite dead. The fires still smolder. I know Miyazaki was not the primary director on the final version of this game, but I know that he helped them with pre-pro, so that just feels like his creator fingerprint specifically there. Is there some weird allusion to fire or being on fire or burning? He probably wrote that. And if he didn't write it, he should tell the writers under him to stop cribbing his style.
All right, let's go fast.
But that's why it's called Fires of Rubicon, because Rubicon is full of coral, which is on fire, I guess. The plot that I quickly pieced together from just doing a few basic missions is basically you have two competing forces, vaguely in general, like philosophically competing forces. There's a lot of corporations and corporate armies and mercenaries who are trying to survey the planet for coral so that they can make money. And then there are people who were living on this industrial hellhole planet that may have caught space fire. Anyway, they're the Rubicon Liberation Front, and they, yell a lot about the fires of liberation and only those who have bathed in the ash can understand and other stuff like that. But they are your, standard issue anti-corporate local militia mecha pilots. And that's as far as I've gotten in, like, unpacking the story. Like I said, and I dig it. Don't want to say I mean this in a bad way, but, it's very boilerplate, which is good, right? You want it to be, you want your high-level lore to be accessible so that people can get into it. I do kind of feel like there's a lot of deeper lore. I mean, I know they said you don't have to have played any previous Armored Core games, but at least in English, there are times when I don't feel like that's true because there's a lot of proper nouns in this game. Like, Walter will just be like, our next mission comes from Balam, a Dafeng subsidiary, and I'm just like, cool. No idea what you're saying to me right now. They have money. They want me to shoot. Giant robot? Shoot. Got it. And I don't know. That seems intentional. Maybe. I have a sneaking suspicion that the like underlying realist theme of this game is about being a faceless, nameless cog in the corporate machine.
Mm-hmm.
As I remember a conversation from that ally fight, right, when you have to take on the dam, there's a liberation pilot who yells at you about, like, where is the honor in fighting for a corporation who just pillages and plunders, and I'm just like, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I literally have no agency in this moment. I think if I don't do what my boss wants me to, he like turns me off and then on again. So we'll see if there's a little bit of a deeper bite there. I don't know if, like, I don't remember conversations about Armored Core as, like, a real deep cut in storytelling.
Did I? Sorry, it's like it's been forever since I've played an Armored Core game. I love this. I love the franchise, but
yeah. And what I was gonna say was, I feel like the thing that people always keep coming back to is the games are really good for gameplay and really good at that kind of mech customization fantasy part of it, right?
Right.
That's kind of what got people interested in the past, and if that's what you're after, this game will certainly bring that.
Did I miss one? I found 5 of them.
Or does it just, run the timer out?
I don't know.
Not sure.
Oh, here's one.
There we go.
Oh wait, nope, that's not one.
No, normal boy.
Well, I figured out it's the ones that are like smoking and stuff is the one you get the logs from, but huh.
Wrap it up. Arquebus's main force will be here any minute now. We've got enough logs to satisfy the request. That's it for this job, 621. Return to base.
Speed.
Name of the game.
Mm-hmm. Base pay, bonus pay.
Well, one of the names of the game, like I said, I don't actually know if it is real viable to get in there, but you can do a big bunky chunky loadout, I guess.
Yeah.
I personally wouldn't want to do that because I got schwacked too many times doing the artillery mission.
I got some decent intel on V4. I'll report this to Commander Michigan. Additionally, I'll introduce myself. Gun 6 Red. But you can call me Sir.
Ooh, these books.
Among Balam's best, even if I am stuck whipping you independents into shape. Believe you me, I'm gonna put you to work.
Yeah, even the you do get introduced to character names. They feel a lot like stock characters.
They really do.
The general of Balam's mercenary forces is called Michigan, and I'm like that feels like a. I mean, it's probably a call sign, but it feels like a heckin' Gundam name.
ACOS upgrades.
I think their mercenary unit is called the Red Dogs.
Yep.
Which is ironic because they're not red. I'm red. I go 3 times as fast as a normal armored core. That's probably not true. I haven't bought any super cool speed upgrades. But yes, I immediately played around with the color schemes to get very red.
All right, what is OS tuning?
Lucky's learning about systems I'm not too yet. I'll get in there.
Oh, these are actually you can actually get things to boost up boost things. Neat.
Oh, neat. Okay, so it's not just parts based. You can also like buy little upgrades and do a little tune up. That's nice. I like that too.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit
Listen, this game is still made by FromSoft. There's a lot of devil in the details in those very, very, minute numbers. Like, it's not quite the same, but it probably is something like the level where, like, that 1 point of stamina, is the difference between can I do 4 attacks in a row or 3. I don't believe you become a Pontiac Trans Am.
Welcome to the Arena Combat Aptitude Evaluation Program.
If you're asking if there's like a super mode, I don't know yet.
Subject AC, Madstomp. Call sign, Invincible Rummy.
Oh, that's a big boy.
looks like a construction worker.
Commencing evaluation.
I do think even some of the parts you can start out with are like repurposed from a construction frame. Somebody was talking in chat a second ago about how if we were to build like mecha style mecha, they would probably be for like agriculture use and heavy industry and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I could see that more likely. Being militarized would be like a weird side thing we do. But also that's why most mecha universes have access to magic space rocks. You know, Gun was very famous for Minovsky physics. Code Geass had Sakradite. Zone of the Enders had Metatron. I don't actually know if Coral goes into making giant robots, but you know they have access to knowledge of high energy superconductors and stuff. Ooh, got him.
Yeah, I don't know how, but I've just fucking lost my. I keep losing my damn lock on. I need it.
Did you click down on the stick to activate the lock-on mode?
Yeah, I did. Like, see, now it's off.
I don't. Okay, how much?
You can tell when it's on because the circle becomes more complete.
Oh, I've been saying it's on because there's usually little 4 hashes around your screen. Lets you know you're in facing mode.
4 hashes?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna be able to describe it if it's not on the button. But yeah, I thought when you clicked on the right stick, that was what turned on the facing lock mode,
What it?
and it changes your UI a little bit. Either way, like you said, the camera is a little bit oddball in the game.
Alright, got him.
Target destroyed.
Blep.
Concluding evaluation.
Yeetus.
Well done.
That was not well done.
Well, I mean, you won. Anyone you can walk away from.
I suppose. Huh, took his emblem too. It's my emblem now.
Well, yeah, you are kind of pitched as, being a little chameleonic. You literally illegally enter the planet and have to steal somebody's license and registration,
Yep.
which is how you get the call sign Raven.
Oh, interesting. Oh, so you can change your shoulder weapon into a fucking extra gun. Wild. Okay.
Ooh. Okay, that's neat.
Oh, you can manually purge? Okay.
See, chat, you're seeing the gameplay expand and fractal out before your very eyes.
Oh, assault armor. Pulse protection, terminal armor.
Well, it better be Thunder.
Access speed. Well, you even just get like straight up damage mitigation. Neat. It's not a lot, but every little bit counts.
Yeah, get a little damage control, armor optimization. I mean, otherwise, I think your AP is just determined by frame. It's nice to get a little edge, get a little customizing, because obviously there's going to be stuff that people are going to prefer. Oh, I want to be more solid and more defensible, or I want to be lighter and faster, and then you get a little bit of back and forth there. That's nice. Honestly, considering I'm probably going to have to keep it a little low and slow. I'm probably gonna do a lot of playing tonight after we're done with the show.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I do want to keep my 14 grind set on because it's good to just keep in the habit of doing stuff. And I can always use a few more, beeples and bopples from like Tombstone gear and whatever. But I don't know if I want to be yelling on the Discord about being, punched by Yvonne Coralfist to death. Or, God, help that. Oof. I feel like at some point I need to. Well, I'll probably get it on a roulette at some point, but I feel like I need to like do some more Shinryu runs in the future, just because I feel like I only understood half of that fight because there was just so much going on. Like he nearly beat us all in the first phase.
Yup.
Because like I think was Loth the only one who dodged it outright?
I think so.
Yeah, Loth was the only one who just tanked it. All I did was like, okay, because somebody said it was going to be a push because it was tidal wave. I'm like, okay, I don't know how this is going to go. I'm just going to pop, Surecast now and just ride it out. It was a good thing I did. Otherwise, we probably would have had to reset that one.
Probably.
But then we get to like the second phase where he's got the friggin' tic-tac-toe floor and smashing out the stuff, and I'm just like, I don't really know what's happening anymore. I know sometimes there's a tail, we yell tail, we punch the tail, and then we move on, and then he does another thing to step on the cracks. Crazy. So, if we want to emphasize less yelling and screaming, probably just gonna settle in and play Armored Core tonight, which will be fine. Hold on, is that a giant Spas shotgun?
Yeah.
It is. Damn. Gotta give you one of those. That's funny. I mean, I shouldn't throw any stones. I'm pretty sure one of the basic machine guns you can buy is just like a giant mecha RPD, just a Soviet machine gun. Looks like an AK with a big long barrel.
Subject AC. Burn pickaxe. Call sign. Index.
And that guy also just has a normal space AK and a giant rocket launcher.
Commencing evaluation.
His arm is
Cool
the
emblem, though.
rocket launcher.
Oh, it really? Yeah, I thought he was holding it like slung under. No, his arm is just the gun. Why can't I have an arm gun?
You will eventually.
Rad. Sorry, a little yawning, a little stabilizing breath. But yeah, in general, 14 is also in the news because I think it's just today, technically, is the 10th anniversary of A Realm Reborn.
Yep.
So that's cool. I think the Rising and the Moogle Tombstone event, the Moogle Treasure Trove, starts at rollover tonight, technically, right?
I'm not entirely sure.
I think it's the 27th. Let me check our news desk because we have a separate news thread for 14 now. Let me scroll them up. Yeah, it's August 27th for both, so that'll be tonight.
That's good. I'll have to probably put some of that time
12
into-
a.m. PBT.
Probably put some of that time in
Yeah, we'll rock them up tomorrow.
before we do game.
Before, maybe after. I don't know. It depends on how long. I don't want to say that though. We've gotten pretty good with when my material's all cut up on going for a solid 4 hours on Gensakai lately.
Well
Mhm.
done.
From like, which usually my time is like 8 to midnight ish. So, I don't want to count on after game time, but before game definitely. Verified, exploded. Give me your stuff.
All right, green rank 20.
But yeah, so we've already talked at length about how both on What's Up, I think, and also on obviously the 14 streams, how rad the Moogle Tombstone's going to be. And you guys will probably catch me doing the Rising actual event part next Wednesday, so I can get a burb,
Burb.
shiny burb, big giant glowing burb. Yeah, I know. Obviously, you're plunking away at gameplay stuff as well. But anything else you wanted to say about Armored Core the 6th? Because like I said, you've put a few more hours in it than I have.
I am not good at it. That's all I have to say.
I mean, I'm sure. I feel like whenever you say that on a stream, like 4 people are gonna crawl out of the woodwork to say that they're watching and they think you're doing fine. As we usually do. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I can agree. Like, if I would say personally, like I feel like I'm good at it. No, like I said, you can still. I think the game is designed so that maybe you don't feel like you're good at it. You know, that is kind of how From makes a few of their games. Like we said earlier, you can absolutely get hit from the side when you're not paying attention by giant guns. I know there are some people who've been working on like kind of like chapter or act climax bosses who are like very big and tough, and they've had to do a few tries at for people who are definitely like people in our Discord who are super excited for Armored Core and have been going back and playing previous Armored Core and stuff like that. So don't know what it'll be like when I get to those phases. But this in general just reminds me of kind of like my personal, like I said, like love-hate relationship with FromSoft's like Soulsborne games. I think I don't want people to misconstrue. I don't dislike Soulsborne games overall. I do have some personal issues with some of the concepts. I do not like generally how a lot of the community of people who plays those games is. Which is part of the reason why I think I have been previously so turned off from them. But like, again, talking about the phenomena, right, of being on stream and being like, oh man, I'm bad at this, I don't feel good at this, and then like 4 people are like, no, Lucky, no, Omega, you're doing fine, you did great, you beat that boss in way less tries than I did. And I'm like, and in my mind, when people say that, especially when I think of like usually about like Bloodborne or Elden Ring, Loth says this to me. I'm like, okay, Loth, I know you play and enjoy these games, so I don't know who that's more of an indictment of, me or you. Loth, I think though personally, Loth's personality type is definitely he's good at the smash his head into the wall strategy. Like, I would totally believe he overcomes a lot of those games by just slamming into them over and over until either he gets lucky or he like super figures it out. Boy, Axe is saying a lot of words right now. I mean, I would say yes in general. I'm kind of an anxious person, but like, listen, I started and tried to enjoy Demon Souls based on the recommendation of our friend Ron, by the way. Technically, I bought that game. I bought Demon Souls at full price on the PS3. I sold it back to GameStop for store credit. Ron bought the game again used for me to play because he was like so down to climb with that game. And I've tried Demon Souls before. I've tried the remastered. That's where I think a lot of my initial like distrust of From's games comes from, because the initial area of Demon Souls, and I've been to other areas, like I unlocked the world map, I poked around, I didn't really find any purchase doing that. Like I never like made solid prog that way, but like I've gotten past the gut check in Demon Souls before. But like the first area in Demon Souls is just full of all the stuff I don't like about those games. I've told before the story of how I fell for the obvious pit because there's a pit that sparkles like it's full of, currency of souls and stuff on the ground, and then you go to look at it and you just fall in because there's no edge physics, and I'm just like, why? Why is this like this? What have you done this for? And like it's got a really long runaround before you can start doing character leveling, right? Demon Souls does. You have to beat the first boss, and to beat the first boss, you have to do the whole runaround. That's where From got into their, dragon on a bridge shtick, which is, like, that's absolutely like a newbie trap, right? Like, that only exists to catch you just because you've never played this game before and you don't know better. And I will say this, like, so far, I feel like the more mission-focused design of Armored Core, this avoids a lot of the gotchas that you might expect from a Soulsborne, you know? I do occasionally get ambushed by guys around corners, but I guess that's just urban warfare for you. I don't really know if those guys were ambushing so much, it's just they're, like, standing on that street corner. Well, yeah, Axe, that is it, right? Like, the game is... And I mean, the way I like I said, some of this is my personal, my personal bias and interpretation, but, like, that's, we're talking about subjectively how I feel about a game, so it's not like we can, manually readjust that with facts and logic. I feel like those are the game's teaching moments. The problem for me, and the reason why I don't enjoy those games, is because the game teaches me to be anxious, to be anxietous. It teaches me to, like, always be concerned there's a guy around a corner who's going to stab me to death, or that this treasure chest could be a mimic, or, oh, there's a narrow hallway? Well, there's probably going to be guys with crossbows or a giant Indiana Jones ball or something down there. Like, and the way that I respond to that kind of lesson is, like I said, anxiety, nervousness, paranoia. Like, I'm like, shit, I got to be ready for everything. I got to be on the wall, constant vigilance. There are some people who take that as kind of like a eustress situation, right?
Mm.
There are people who, like, take that moment of, like, oh, I need to be, like, aware of everything. And they're like, this is so cool. I got to be, like, alive. I'm not one of those people. Like, this goes back to the reason why I genuinely think Alien Isolation is a super cool game. It's really neat. It's got a lot of cool systems. That is a game I cannot play, like, by myself. I have never beaten it. Just because, like, when the chips are down and Scoops the alien is coming for you, that, like, I'm just like, this is gonna give me, like, a heart attack. Like, I know what to do about avoiding and distracting and not getting eaten by the alien, and I still am like, man, I'm on edge all the time. Like, I get a similar feel from a lot of From games. I do think that in general, Elden Ring really is their, like, most accessible entry so far into the franchise. I've never played Dark Souls 1 or 2. Actually, I've never played any actual Dark Souls. I played Demon Souls, I played Bloodborne, and I played Elden Ring. I have actually put, like, a decent amount of gut check hours. I would not hypothetically be able to refund those games on Steam, for instance, if you want to, like, ask my playtime. I did not, spend 9 hours on the first boss in the tutorial of those games. So, like, I've played enough of those games to, like I said, understand that I have a complicated relationship with them. I think I will never be able to play Dark Souls 3 because Dark Souls 3 has an infamous gut check boss. This was something in our Assassin's Creed, not Assassin's Creed. God, there's way too many games that abbreviate AC. I think I've made this joke before. In Armored Core 6, we have a thread. It's a popular game. We have a thread in our Discord so that, you can post all your screenshots and your funny images on the internet of color schemes and stuff in there and talk about things without, necessarily having to spoiler diverse and, like, melt down everybody who's not playing Armored. You might not have seen this conversation because you hadn't gotten you were still at work when this happened, so you hadn't gotten your copy yet, and I don't think you were in the thread. Excuse me. Sorry. Clear my throat a little. But allegedly people have been, like, comparing the giant helicopter boss to Gundyr. I've never played Dark Souls 3. I've watched several people play Dark Souls 3. I understand the concept behind the tutorial area boss Gundyr. Armored Core 6 is not that hard. That's not a Gundyr situation. Like, that guy exists to be, like, not just is he there to test your knowledge of the game's underlying systems, right? he is also there, I feel like, to test your dedication to actually play this game. Like, he exists to give you a moment to be like, hey, this guy's pretty tough. There's going to be some guys after this that are easier. There's going to be some guys after this that are harder. But if you're not willing to put in the hours to, like, grind out this guy, you're not going to have a good time. And while I appreciate the game having a gut check, from, like, a consumer standpoint, this is why I say, like, I have a complex relationship with the way From designed some of these games. I feel like from a consumer standpoint, it's a little weird. Because of the way, like, you know, the cost of video games and the way refunds work. Like, you have to be pre-invested to get to Gundyr. You have to run through the whole tutorial area and stuff. And he is a mandatory boss. And I'm like, I mean, I don't know. That's a question for consumers, right? Like, what would you prefer, audience? And obviously Lucky, because you're playing a game that is considered by some to be potentially difficult. There's no difficulty slider, that's for sure. You know, it just kind of is the way it is. Hold on, is that? Are we? I can't tell, or if we're like, if Lucky's just moving very fast or we're dropping frames occasionally. Okay, that was a little bit of buffering.
There's
I'm
a
just
lot
like seeing you.
happening right now.
Yeah, that's what I say. I think there's just a lot happening. Like sometimes it feels like there's a jump cut, but I think it's just you're dashing around a lot in these giant fans and/or pools of water, and there are like at least 2 dudes shooting laser beams at you. It feels like.
No, there's
a guy with a.
There's 3 lasers and 1 dude with an electric whip.
Yes, I caught the whip guy. That's what I was gonna say. Like, so there's a lot happening.
The laser guys are invisible, by the way.
Oh, joy. Well, at least hopefully that means I can become invisible later.
Don't count on it.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, like I said, I'm pretty sure there's technically a quote unquote stealth build because there is a mechanic for catching guys unaware, but I don't know if it's actually like you get active camo. That'd be cool though. But yeah, so the question I was going to ask was like, consumers, which do you prefer? Would you prefer a game that like slowly ramps you into its systems and so that you can get several hours in before it hits those moments of like, okay, we need you to be good at the game now, and then you check out, and obviously you will have, you know, spent money, time, etc. in there? Or do you prefer early gut checks where it's like, hi, you've just bought this game, you've been playing it for less than an hour, I'm going to need you to show that you're committed to learning the systems of the game right now, or you need to put us down? I usually prefer games that have a more gentle ramp rather than like an early difficulty spike, because I feel like even if I don't complete those games, I can get more of my time and my value out of them. Whereas a game that like is really hard to get in early is like, why did I pay money for this, you know, early on to just get my ass beat and then not be able to see the rest of the game I paid for?
I would the moment I can actually fucking see them.
Is Handler giving you oblique tips? I cannot read the dialogue boxes, the subtitles in preview mode. I just see these yakking at you.
Yeah, but no, he's giving that's 1 down.
He's trying. Yeah, Legendary in chat says he appreciates late game gut checks.
These guys are also in awkward places. I'm gonna be real. Okay.
Is the strategy call for different gear?
It might. I have vertical rockets, which are usually pretty good at coming down on horizontal targets, but they're not so good for vertical ones.
Yeah, and you've got the hand cannon.
No, I have the laser pistol.
You have the laser pistol. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that one, but I assume the pistols are roughly similar. Okay. I wonder if this calls for like a bit of AoE effect or something. Well, Lucky will figure it out. Yeah, Legendary in general, I feel like I agree with you. I prefer games that have kind of like that. I think the TV Tropes term is the final exam boss, where like the game teaches you all of its parts slowly, and then it's like, hey, were you paying attention? Did you learn all the things we wanted you to learn? Because we're gonna make it do all the stuff now at the end here. Like, That I feel like that's a great gradient of like payoff to investment to time effect. But there are times and some of the particular Soulsborne games are infamous for this, where it's like no, we need you to either start getting good at this game or show your willingness to beat your head against the wall right now, or go home. And like I said, it's my personal preference against that, but it's not everybody's. Obviously, the games are popular for a reason. But yeah, like, what's his face Gunder is probably why I will never ever play Dark Souls 3 unless I like miraculously get good at Souls games.
Okay, I did it that time.
Hey, you got him. Good job, Lucky.
This wasn't a simple check-in after all. Head back and rest up, 621.
If I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna actually take the middle road. I would like an early difficult boss. Not like, the hardest one, but something that lets me know it's like, hey, you can expect fights of this kind of caliber in here. Like, I don't need I guess I prefer an early gut check. Because once you get over that initial hump and things get a little bit smoother, then you can start spreading your wings. But like, if you get we use the term filter here, but if you get just stopped by that first boss, it's just like, no, then I probably don't want to just, continue beating my head against the wall, because I know people who if they don't have that early gut check boss, they will just kind of cruise through, and then when they hit a later gut check boss, they get super fucking pissed off because apparently all the time they put in previously amounted to nothing to it.
Yeah, and if it's done poorly, it can definitely have that response. I have played games that did feel like that were like a little too smooth cruise, and then it's like, hey, here's the one hard boss we decided. And it's just like, what? Huh? What's happening here? Hold on. Yeah, I guess in general, like you said, you wanted to take a more median tone. I think it is a delicate balance, right?
Yeah.
Like, as a consumer, I don't want the game that I've already bought to scare me off, right? Like,
Right.
that just doesn't feel good.
No.
But I guess, like, fundamentally, that scare off, while it feels less bad later down the line, in general, I would prefer not to be scared off at all, which is why often I straight up don't buy these games. Like, I've tried them, I've given them my all. I appreciate that, the Demon's Souls remaster is, one of the PS Plus games you can pick up and check out, for free. Very early on it was to actually experiment with it, because I would not want to buy that game technically for a third time, especially at what was probably a foolish price. This is always a thing when it comes to remasters and remakes that's going around. Some people I have seen saber rattling about the fact that the Persona 3 remake is full price, which I would like to say to you. Would you like to recall what year Persona 3 came out? It's been a while. Now, if you want to talk about them charging full price for like some of the ports, sure. Though I don't think P3P's port was full price. Yeah, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember. I haven't bought it. I'm probably not gonna buy it because they're coming out with the remake. But I'm not shocked at all that the P3 Reload is $70. We've got all like new models, lots of new graphic packages. Obviously, all of the dialogue is re-recorded with new actors. Though there have been some trailers and I've listened to the English dub. All the people working on this game are doing a phenomenal job of trying to be in the same range as the original reads on the PS2. I was quite pleasantly shocked about like I said, a lot of the range those characters are in. I'm like, damn, that's good. Whoever's on Aegis is doing it right there. I mean, sorry, I'm just reading what Axe is saying. Obviously, right, I do think in some cases it does come down to not necessarily having the go get 'em for the game and stuff. Whether that's the temperance, the tenacity, the balance, or whatever. Like, not all games are for all people. This is something we say here a lot. But like, I don't know. It's one of those things where like, if you, this is especially true of Elden Ring. Like I said, I do think Elden Ring is generally more accessible. But like, if you know, you've seen Elden Ring, literally won Game of the Year, won Best Narrative, which, like I said, that's a whole like separate conversation there. Like, I don't necessarily agree with those haters who are like, "Oh, Elden Ring has no narrative." No, it does have story, but accessing its story is you know, very complex, very ambient, and also often requires you to bust your balls to actually play Elden Ring. Like, I don't know if that deserves the quality of best, certainly, especially when so much of Elden Ring is like ambiguous, ambient, sometimes not even necessarily translated correctly. Like, I don't know if like I said, I personally would not have gone with best narrative for that game, but I know some people like really pushed back on that. But like, if you see this game's won all these awards and you go, "Oh, everybody says this is the easiest FromSoft game. I want to get in there." And then like, if you get, as Lucky said, quote unquote filtered, I understand your pain, right? Like, people upsold this game as a phenomenal experience that's worth having and worth acquiring, and then like, especially if you're not used to these styles of games, you can get got. Hell, if you're not, even if you are used to them, there are new systems in Elden Ring. Elden Ring has a jump that works. Like, jumping is a key part of the game, and like, it's actually like a move you got to do. I know that I had to readjust my brain to be like, oh right, I can just jump over attacks now. Sometimes that's a thing I can do reliably. You know. Oh yes, and also on the P3R subject, yeah, I feel bad about the special editions. I also have to chuckle. I believe it was you, Legendary, who posted that it was the PS4 and PS5 versions that were all sold out already.
Yep.
It has not gone unnoticed to me that apparently Atlas and Sega are still on the hook to Xbox, as they posted their like, you know, new battle, new Meat Seas trailers on a day and only had Xbox branding and logos, and then the next day like PlayStation posts the exact same trailers but with the PlayStation branding. So like, obviously Xbox has still got some kind of press exclusivity deal going on to try and trick you into, you know, thinking that you have to get it on Xbox. I guess I don't know what their strategy is right now. But like, it's funny that like scalpers and collectors instinctively knew the PS5 is the version to get. That says a lot about what's going on with consoles right now. I will content myself to buy the regular version, probably. Obviously, because, well, I mean, you know, we've got months and months to go, so I don't know if they might take a restock if they're truly sold out. They might be able to justify it, but we'll see.
Yeah, if anyone,
by the way,
if they do restock, someone let me know, please.
Yeah, Lucky likes special editions for sure, so give him a tingle. I usually only go a little bit special for like real tight games. And I probably should feel that way about P3 because that was my first Persona game and that really got me into that franchise. But also, man, it's been a lot of years since I played P3. I'm cool to go back, and see how they did. Like I said, looks great, sounds great. They've got a new battle track. They know. I will say this: Atlas knows what they were doing. They had a specific trailer to be like, "Hey, we've got a trailer just to introduce you to what your normal battle theme is." Because for better or worse, they do try to remix your battle themes every time they re-release the game. You know, they try to mix it up. I know that for P5 Royal, I had it on like shuffle between the couple. Yeah, no, the P3 remake will be good. You know, like comments about, you know, the you know, not having access to some of the female player character stuff and other stuff on there. Not will we have, you know, the extra month in social links from Fez or not? Like I said, we definitely won't have the answer. Like, I'm pretty sure they seem pretty clear that's not going to be included in base. They'll probably tack that on as a DLC in like 6 months. But like, it's got to be a good game. But boy, it's like, hold on, let me find the tweet about this. But we're already like, you think this year is crazy? Because it is, by the way. September is going to be a slaughterhouse of new games. But like, we're already lining up in late August that February of 2024 is going to be a humdinger. Yeah, okay. So, Grand Blue Fantasy Relink has a date. That's February 1st. Also, by the way, I've seen some trailers for that. That looks pretty good. Like, I'm genuinely interested in that as well. Because like it, Grand Blue's been around a long time, but I haven't really been interested in like getting into the phone game.
Yeah.
But Relink actually looks like, okay, this looks like they've done a real good job here.
Listen, all I want from Relink is just give me the story of Grand Blue Fantasy, because it is a pretty good story. It's just there's a lot of extra shit in there.
And I think that's what they're aiming for. But yeah, that's going to be February 1st. February 2nd is Persona 3 Reload. Looking sick. Got some great graphics. I did notice that they redesigned the evokers a little bit to be less like an actual gun than they were before. Like, they're still very obviously gun shaped, but they are a little more fantastical. Probably a good idea.
Yeah, no.
Tekken. Go ahead.
No, you can go.
Okay. I was going to say Tekken 8's also confirmed for late January. And we don't know when, but Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is early 2024 on 2 discs sometime. I also believe that Like a Dragon 8 is supposed to be early 2024 as well.
I thought it was late 2023. Did they change it? Oh wait, no, that's
Gaiden
that's
this year, and we're getting pretty close to that one.
God,
8 Infinite Wealth is, I believe, early next year.
I need to work on my Yakuza. I'm still back on Kiwami 2 here.
I will probably want to play 7 at some point, which will be easy because that's free on PS Plus. I'll grab it. I got to work through. I'm like 5 hours into Lost Judgment, just in time for Armored Core to actually arrive to me on time. So I'll have to polish that one off at some point as well. I'm having a good time. It's just, it's.
Do you see how many times I dodge and that thing just slapped me?
Yeah, I'm not really. I think this is the next mission I have to do. Actually, I'm thinking about that. I'm not sure what the strategy is there. Assault boost. I will say this also because I'm going on a while Lucky is being beat up by giant robots over and over again. I'm kind of having a philosophical discussion about FromSoft games here. I will say there's another thing about the structure of Armored Core that is different, being mission based. Like, it has like actual regular checkpointing on certain missions. Some missions are just like kind of like one and done objectives, so they don't really checkpoint you. But others will have pre-boss checkpoints and stuff like that. Like, it's there's no like walk of shame, right? Like, it's just you just reset whether it's the mission or the boss, and you just go again. But yeah, like, there's interesting stuff here. But yeah, I'll finish up Lost Judgment and then take a look at Like a Dragon 7. That'd be interesting because that's another game series that I'm kind of like intermediate about the gameplay on. Like, I think in general, Ryu Ga Gotoku games have they have a lot of extra gameplay stuff, which is usually pretty neat, even if you don't like all of it. Like I learned to be decent at Crane Game. They've got loads and loads of mini games, but the core beat 'em up mechanics, I always have felt kind of like, again, a little bit of tension with, because Like a Dragon games are known for their big, chunky boss health bars. And on the one hand, I appreciate the drama of the fight. Like, they really sell some of those fights. There are times, though, when you're doing fights where I'm just like, oh my god, this guy just has so much HP. I am just wailing on this guy. And sometimes, personally, it doesn't necessarily feel great to just a guy is just a punching bag and a meat sack. But also, I think that that depends on game to game. So that makes me very curious about Like a Dragon 7 because they completely changed the way combat works with the turn-based stuff, and I'm just like, that's a weird flex, but okay, I'll see how it plays. Also, hey y'all, if you're obsessed with the turn-based thing, remember Yakuza 7, and I think they've said that 8 will be the same.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
Damn it! I'm going down. I'm going down.
Yeah, you ran into boosty boo.
Oh, I'm still running on a boost.
I will appreciate the way that like jumping and ascending works.
Whee!
Let's go for a fun spinny round ride.
All right, where's the way out? There it is, over here. God! I go for a ride once again.
That said, I appreciate all the vertical mobility. It's just, yeah, some of you guys are tall. You gotta get up in there. Sometimes guys have shields. I do love that at least it tells you the ricochet if you bounce off a shield, even if you don't see it. But it does also make a sound, and you see the little arc. Look at this. Look at this scale, chat. Hold on. Let's ratchet back to Armored Core for a second. Look at this.
This thing's huge.
Yeah, I saw one review talk about it like. Basically, imagine if bosses on the scale of Titan Lawson 16 were, like, completely freeform. And personally, I felt like there was a little bit of judgment there. I really like most of 16's boss design. Like, yes, I know that some of them are more scripty and cinematic than others, but that's the feel, right? That's what we're going for. I don't know that Armored Core is cinematic. It is just, look at this scale. This is the kind of stuff that you don't get with Soulsborne games, right? Like, some of those guys are big, but, like, there are limits to how you can have a Soulsborne-style boss fight and scale and just have it be stuff. This is like, you gotta take down a giant mining rig. He's walking. He's got radiators you're gonna blow up. Get him. But yeah, no. I'm excited for P3R. Again, depending on when the release date for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth actually is, I don't know if like P3R will win that fight. Yeah, I've talked about this. I'm fucking vibrating. I am to the moon for 7 Rebirth. I am ready to rock. I'm just watching this guy laser his own body with kind of a nonplussed look, like, bet that doesn't hurt you, but it hurts me a lot. Instead, I think you got him.
Oh, where'd that? Where? Oh. Just side missiles.
Yeah, he shot a lot of missiles. And he got stun locked, which sucks. Sorry, I'm just appreciating the scale for a second here. Like, damn, this is good. And I think this game, in general, it's being reported as running very well, like on all platforms and stuff.
I think so.
I'm gonna guess some of that is probably the smaller mission areas. Like, obviously, this area looks big, but you can't actually go everywhere in this zone. So that lets them cheat a little. You know, a game like Elden Ring is, literally open world, and even previous Dark Souls have had some like interconnectivity elements, but Elden Ring being open world is probably like it needs to be able to sim a lot or preload a lot, so that makes it jittery. This is just like, did you load the mission area? Okay, let's go. Just having a little fun ride back down to Earth. Pretty sure there's no fall damage. Big bada boom. Yeah, early 2024. Gonna be.
Oh, I reached the edge of the fucking map. Speed boy.
Speaking, by the way, of how of map edges. Yeah, there it is.
We got a B on that. Okay. I keep trying to just do missions, maybe get a little bit better than I was before. Ugh.
I mean, that is another thing that, like I said, we've talked how like definitely this has From's creative fingerprint on it, but like overall thinking about it and playing it and looking at you play it, Lucky, this definitely has the design elements that I feel better about, and I kind of wish were in their other games because like I said, I don't know if Elden Ring had the best narrative, but it has narrative, it has story. It's got a lot of really cool aesthetics. There's a lot of hidden lore there, and I do think they have genuinely cool fights. It's just that kind of like roguelike style, right? Where it's just like, well, you know, you die. You are, I would argue, actively punished for death. You know, if you die, you lose all your stuff and have to go get it back. You know, you will get punted back to your latest save point and stuff, you know, and so on and so forth. Like that can be rough. Armored Core is not an easy game, you know, necessarily. Like, I don't feel that same sense of like anxiety, at least yet. Anyway, I don't know. We'll see if enemies get more like demonic and annoying. But like, it is not an easy game. I don't know that you can truly take it easy and autopilot it. But the fact that you can, you know, just farm currency, you know, by replaying old missions, the fact that it is in that mission-based structure, and it doesn't really like punish you for you know, losing, right? Like, you just die and have to reset. You're dead. There's no like revival mechanic. You just do it again. Obviously you do get lower ratings if you succeed and, you know, have to repair a lot and use a lot of bullets. But if you're playing a mission where if you die, you just have to do the whole mission over again, you know, you can freely replay. You can practice this stuff. Like, I do think there are some options in some Soulsborne's game to like replay bosses at certain intervals, but like generally it's like one and done. You learned that guy, you beat that guy, you get your reward, you go home. Like, you to practice and get better at the game, you have to like go farther, right?
Yeah.
Get to new bosses and do new stuff. This lets you kind of like iterate on old content and you know, practice at your own pace, which I appreciate. This game definitely, while it is not easy, is like straight up, I think, more accessible than some of From's other most recent entries.
I mean, I like that even if you do die, you have an ability just to reassemble your mech and just go right back into the checkpoint you were at. You can just change on the fly.
Yeah, you can garage, which is that's very antithetical one to how Soulsborne games works, but also how lots of games are. Like, I think I talked about that with Final Fantasy 16 even. I was like, man, I really wish in combat you could actually switch your like icon loadout on the fly. I would do like brews for like bosses or hunting marks, and then I would have, you know, what I need to like corral big piles of mooks, right?
Right.
As opposed to how I actually beat that game, which was I found kind of a decent middle ground of abilities to be like, okay, I've got some crowd control, I've got some boss abilities, and I've got the rhythm to, you know, do the big stagger. There we go. Like, I think the game will sell well, and I think it'll do well despite people getting filtered. Bandai Namco straight up said that they think the game will do well because after Elden Ring, FromSoft's name carries a lot of weight of quality, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Which is true. Like I said, it's an award-winning game. It is, like I said, it's kind of a shame that the games are kind of okay, let me tell you this. FromSoft's Soulsborne games are kind of predicated on their opaqueness, I'm trying to find a non-pejorative way to say get good nature, because like the games do want you to get good, but not necessarily in the derogatory way people on the internet mean it. They genuinely want you to like engage with the systems and, you know, learn every fight and shit.
Adapt and overcome.
Yeah, that's true. They want you to adapt and overcome. Yes, like I said, Soulsborne games will punish you for a loss, but they also make you feel rewarded for a win. That is their vibe. Miyazaki is on record as saying that in interviews. He wants it to feel when you win that you truly achieved something, and they do feel like that. Though there are times when it is just a relief to not ever have to fight that guy again. But it's like you get something out of winning, right? But there are some people who are not going to be like down to clown for that hump, and they can't get at that game. There is no, well, just turn on story mode and you can just see what we wanted to show you and then like move on, right? And I appreciate their stick-to-itness to their guns there. I appreciate the artistic vision. But also, like, man, their games are really cool. I do kind of wish like it would be easier for like a broader audience to get in there. But that. Listen, if they're doing okay without it, they don't have to change anything. That's just very much I've come to the realization over the past few years that that's very much like a personal hitch. Like philosophically, in general, I have no qualms with what they do. In specific, me personally am like, man, I wish it was easier for me to get into these games because like I think they're cool and I would like to get more out of them. It takes a lot of work.
Don't mind me just killing your artillery because that's 4K a pop.
Also, artillery guns are really mean. They will draw a bead on you and blast your ass. It's not fun.
I've been blasted several times.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. I got my clock cleaned a couple of times doing the first destroy all the artillery missions. Those guys have some kill boxes set up. Like you go down the wrong street in that mission and you'll see like 3 or 4 big laser lines just track to you, and if you do not get into cover, you will get blasted. You will not have a good time. But like I said, that I don't feel like is like a harsh difficulty. That's just like that's early enough that the game is still teaching you like basic urban tactics. Like, hey, maybe don't get caught in an open kill zone. Use cover. Be adjacent to your enemies. Don't walk right into their line of fire. Nobody likes that. And eventually, you'll probably be able to like, and this is the beauty of being able to replay old shit, right? You'll be able to adjust your build later, not just when you have to reset in the moment, but reset. You can retry later with good stuff. This is the thing we talk about with FGO a lot, right? Like, I wish I could redo story fights with like the knowledge I have and the servants I have now, even if it would turn into a total clown fest. Because, like, I bet there's going to be times where you can get some parts later and, like, there will be builds you can brew with later parts of your AC where you will absolutely, like, probably be able to, like, outrange some of those artillery guns and really, like, get them in their own game, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've seen you, like, have unlocked, like, some big shoulder cannon-looking things and stuff like that. Like, that'll be really interesting to come back. And check out some of that stuff. Just replay stuff is cool. I think actually Final Fantasy 16 just had a minor update to adjust some stuff with arcade mode.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Fiddle with some arcade stuff to get in there. There's still illusions, of more DLC coming, but for now it's just minor stuff.
Here's something neat. Some missions you get a supply Sherpa. Just reload.
Yeah, it's always cool.
But also, this is the fucking health kit on the stairs. Because there's a boss right here.
Okay, article writer. Sorry, I'm just like I'm skimming the news and I'm keeping an eye out for stuff, and they're like, "Oh, you got a last chance to play some games." Apparently, Watch Dogs and Watch Dogs 2 are leaving PS Plus. Soon. They do say, by the way, for good, but we don't want to count on that. They said specifically that fans praise both games.
No,
not the original Watch Dogs. I think 2 has some merit. A lot of people were surprised by that sequel. I should probably make sure. I think it's in my library, but I'll make sure if it is. But, like, Watch Dogs 1? Nah, dude, I played Watch Dogs 1. I bought into the lie. That game was just very okay. Very mid. I would say a strong medium, but that implies that it was, like, a happy medium. No, it was an aggressively all right video game. The writing was weird. There's definitely not as much weird, funny hacking stuff as you could do. But, you know, if you ever wanted to run around fake Chicago and, like, do weird AR app games, you know. Do you want to blow up a lot of Steam mains? I did that a lot. That was pretty cool when I unlocked that. I am glad that I am consistently seeing trailers and ads for Sea of Stars, which is very soon. That's the 29th. Don't know if I'll have time to pull that right away, but I'll probably make sure to like try and add it to my library or download it at least so they get the numbers.
Yeah, for this dude, vertical rockets, very good. Just letting you know. He has very strong front armor, so you have to hit him from the front, but he has no armor up top. He's also a big...
yes. Yeah, I can see that.
See?
And he's a big, stonky boy.
Oh, but
Again, talking about like
I
the
wasn't
game
paying
giving
attention.
you
I
like
was-
this. Yeah, you got blasted. You gotta remember to heal occasionally.
Yeah.
But again, that's talking about like this. It takes a little bit for it to get there, but Armored Core 6 really does have some really interesting gameplay variation that I like. You know, like this. How often do you have games where they actually consider like whether or not you were doing top-down rockets or horizontal rockets?
Mm-hmm.
That's not very common, but that's neat. And I like that it actually makes it matter. You know, that you've got a couple of different ways to handle these shieldy boys. I'm trying to think. In general, I should probably. I don't know if I've got a vertical launcher unlocked just yet. I'll have to double check if the ones I can buy are supposed to be vertical or if they're just horizontal but different than the default. Definitely I should probably look into that just because I also like to occasionally, you know... Listen, when you've got multi-lock rockets and you see a formation of 4 dudes rolling up on you, that just says to me, okay, I'm going to lock on all those guys and blow them up. Sometimes those guys have shields and they will block your rockets. And I'm like, I don't like that. I'm going to make you die. But yeah, games, Sea of Stars soon. Oh, Phantom Liberty, still not too far away. That's going to be a hecker. I know you were very excited, very hyped when you saw the new Ways to Play trailer they did
I was hyped.
for Gamecom. Very good. Let me see. Can I like
Oh, I didn't log on.
just grab the like image of all the things they listed? Yes, thank you. Okay, so the list that they display in the trailer is a dangerous new district,
Dogtown.
dozens of new story quests and gigs. Love to hear that. Vehicle combat and mounted weaponry. We knew vehicle combat was coming, but they did not confirm mounted weaponry before. And I'm like, that's cool. I've always wanted that, right? That's just like a weird gimmick that some Pan Am missions have. It's good. Revamp police. I mean, I think the police system as it is just kind of like a non-system, so I'm okay with them fixing it. I was not that. People were weirdly obsessed with police chases in Cyberpunk 2077. All right, I didn't get it, but like I said, it's the police as it was is kind of a nothing burger, so I'm not averse to that. Combat AA overhaul is gonna be interesting. Very excited to see endless dynamic events and missions.
Yes, oh, what? I got an A on that? Okay.
Nice, get them,
Get him.
get some.
I was a little surprised. Okay.
But yeah, that's something we both complained about a lot is that, like, once you're out of gigs and, like, police actions, there's no, like, grinding to Cyberpunk, right? Like, you can't, like, fish for EXP or for, you know, currency or shit. You know, you just gotta, like, kill guys who respawn, I guess. So, like, endless dynamic events and missions, especially endless missions, I'm like, all right, that's good. That's good. We've known about redesigned cyberware and perks. You know, they've revamped a lot of those trees to show, you know, give you some new stuff, do some more redesigning of the layout. Several people have spotted there are quite a few Edge Runner references in the new skill tree.
Oh, there are? That's good.
Yeah, there's people have spotted for sure. There's images of David, Lucy, and Becca in the skill tree.
Oh, that's lovely.
Just like little redraws of some of their shots. Like I'm pretty sure Lucy's probably related to either something net running or wire related. The shot of David is the infamous from the back shot of the Sandevistan, you know, when he's saying he's built different. And I'm pretty sure Becca's is just her wildly shooting a gun. Yellow. But yeah, so like they've snuck a few references in there and stuff. I'm very excited for. They've got the all new relic skill tree and abilities. Like they're actually putting that in the game. And it looks like that's gonna let you do some freaky deaky like overclock stuff with your cyberware. The level cap's going up, and according to them, 100 plus new items, including weapons, cyberware, and fashion. Though also new cars, new vehicles. And I'm just like, damn, this is good. Still no like exact split on like what's the difference between what's going to be in the free update 2.0 and Phantom Liberty itself, the DLC.
Mhm.
But all in all, still really good. Also definitely like straight up just gonna do a new run. Because the skill tree system's getting overhauled, they've said you're gonna have to like basically respec V anyway if you like play an old save file. So I'm just like, I'm gonna start fresh. Later press stuff definitely saying that there's gonna be it sounds like there's probably gonna be like new interactions and possibly a whole new ending to the base game.
Yeah, that's what. Well, is it base
You-
game or is it with DLC?
Well, in the base game ending will have an added ending, but it will be for Phantom Liberty characters. Yeah, so if you have Phantom Liberty and complete those quest lines, there will be at least one new ending
Oh,
to
okay.
the main game.
Okay.
Is the vibe they've got. And I think that makes sense because the way like the way the endings work is they're usually about like who and what you know. So probably something related to Nusa or something going on there for like an actual ending, which is good because Phantom Liberty is going to take place before the ending time period, so you can work on that. And lots of cool new stuff. I'm very, very excited to see this moment. Definitely hope to see some of those flowers. Game Awards, I better see like I see freaking No Man's Sky every year. I better see some like best returning game or best ongoing game or best game support. I better see a nom for Cyberpunk in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to win. I just want to see the nom. I also hope it'll win though, because like I said, there was a big flip around when Edge Runners came out. A lot of people got back into the game and realized that they had patched a lot of the stuff, and this 2.0 overhaul into Phantom Liberty is going to do like a lot for, I think, delivering on an experience that's going to be a little bit more like the sim that they build 2077 as a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that the game, I mean, it was an RPG and it was first person, but I don't think it was quite to the level of like old school Deus Ex or Thief, right? Of those immersive sim type RPGs I think people were expecting. A System Shock kind of a thing,
Yeah.
Like there was a decent amount of gameplay flexibility. I've played through several times and done completely different builds and found a lot of new stuff to do, but there were areas that were shallow in the original Cyberpunk release. Like I said, there was no vehicle combat. Police are just kind of there. There's no like ability to repeat missions over and over, so you just kind of like do all the stuff and have to hang up your hat. And like, yeah, this is good. Good update. Ready to rock. Hold on a second. I've left my handkerchief far away from me, and I need to blow my nose.
God. Is this move just if you get close, just open up with the fucking bazooka?
Breathing successful. I did hear a video game story that's kind of not super great.
How about what?
So it's come out recently that BioWare, good old BioWare, has laid off about 50 developers.
50.
Yeah. The basic estimation, it appears that most of this team was the team that was on DA4 Dreadwolf.
What?
The best guess in the industry seems to be that this means that they've like finished pre-pro and like major production, and they're shrinking the team down to like finish it. Unfortunately, a lot of the team that was let go was a lot of like writing and design staff, including, you know, the writers who had worked on previous Dragon Age titles who were still at BioWare. Several of these writers were also writers on the original 2 Baldur's Gate games, which is very ironic at this point in time when Baldur's Gate 3 is out and like really taking it home at like being a really great, you know, well put together game that's I don't think anybody would say is like poorly written, you know?
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Hell, they recently released their first like big patch. I've been reading the patch notes. They are very funny.
Yeah, no, their community notes are great.
Yeah. So like that. But yeah, it's very ironic to me that you know, the writers behind the first 2 Baldur's Gate games that were like really successful are being, you know, unfortunately fired from their jobs as Baldur's Gate 3 is just on the upswell. But yeah, so this is not necessarily a guaranteer that Dragon Age 4 will be bad. I admit BioWare's had a rocky few years, rocky decade, I think. When was the last time BioWare made an unambiguously good game? People are going to fight me on that one too. I don't know. I think it's been about 10 years. It's almost been 10 years since Dragon Age Inquisition anyway, and that's you know, not a perfect game by any means also. So like there's some spice there. But like I don't want to say necessarily that Dragon Age 4 is going to be bad for sure. This does probably mean that we better hope it ends with Dragon Age 4, because if it goes to Dragon Age 5, that's going to be written by like entirely new people who will not have been working on this franchise previously. That usually goes poorly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so no, this is a story I picked up the other day that like, yeah, no, apparently BioWare's had, you know, the unfortunately usual kind of turn and burn approach of like they've made it through the bulk and now it's time to let people go, I guess. Though obviously, like I said, I don't other than Mass Effect Legendary Collection, it's been a little while since BioWare had a game, period, right? Let me check BioWare releases. BioWare layoffs is the first autocomplete. Very sad. Oh, yeah. Specifically, I know that's the story that's going on there, is that one of their senior writers who was let go was the major writer behind Varia, which is sad.
Let's see if I can get this guy.
There we go. Listed BioWare video games. There's a separate breakout. Okay, I'm gonna scroll to the bitch. Oh yeah, no. Okay, BioWare hasn't had a good time. Yeah. So, there's allegedly a new Mass Effect coming. We know about Dragon Age Dreadwolf. Technically, it's... I guess I shouldn't say Dragon Age 4 Dreadwolf. I should say either Dragon Age 4 or Dragon Age Dreadwolf, because, well, it is the 4th Dragon Age game. It is not numbered. Mass Effect Legendary Edition, Anthem, Andromeda. They canceled their game Shadow Realms, so yeah, BioWare just has not been doing super great. I think that they've, you know, just been mostly like nose to the grindstone on trying to get those. It's funny. I mean, I don't want to say they like left Dragon Age in a position where they were like putting that franchise to bed, right? Like Dragon Age Inquisition ends with like yet another big sequel hook and huge lore bombs. So I assume that they were planning on making a Dragon Age 4 anyway. But, like, Mass Effect, you know, tried to actually wrap up and find a conclusion point. We can talk about at a different time whether or not that conclusion worked. But they like, tried to actually tie it together and put it to bed. They came up with Andromeda as a way to, like, keep the feel, keep some of the ideas, reinvigorate the gameplay, but also still do something without having to, like, deal with the trilogy. And that obviously had a lot of mixed response because parts of that game on a technical level were obviously very rushed. No, not well managed. This guy's still getting you, huh?
Yeah, he's just. I'm doing better, but like I like having a sword. I really like having a sword. I really don't like how everyone can just see my sword come and be like, no.
I mean, not everyone, but definitely, yeah, named enemies are, like, juking you. I guess you gotta set up. But how would you set it for the stagger? Because the sword is usually how you do altitude control. Like, sword big stun. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just you gotta find the right parts and weapon combo for that guy. Because you've definitely been dunking on, like, later missions and fighting harder, technically tougher dudes.
Yeah,
That
that's
guy's
a C.
just wiggly. He's a wiggly boy.
It's just one dude. Ugh.
But
Well,
yeah,
like I
like,
said, the next mission is the chapter end, so I'm now do the thing where I'm gonna try and just grind all the money and get all the parts before I can leave, so I can have the maximum amount of options.
It's probably a good idea. I've heard the chapter ends are a little spicy.
Alright, so see if I can make it to B at least.
B.
Because I think the laser pistol and the sword is good, and in open areas, vert rockets are great. They really are. I love them. Oh shit, I should have changed my FCC to something maybe close range. Actually, that's the thing that I need to know. What is the difference between close, medium, and long range? What is the meterage?
I mean, the game's only been out a day. I don't know if anybody here will know. But that's definitely something to think about because they do have, you know, you got different fire control systems. They do different stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
the
yeah,
biggest difference is they offer guidance at Can I look at my? No, it's just various settings. They offer a different guidance at different ranges, and I do have a good close range and a good medium range. Am I using the close or medium right now? I don't even know.
Yeah, you can double check an assembly eventually. But yeah, I'm just like hearing that news about BioWare. I'm just realizing despite all the classic great games they've made, BioWare hasn't had a dub in a long time. Like Anthem was bad, and rather than do the necessary revamp, like BioWare gave EA the Realm Reborn proposal, and EA was like, nah, we're not doing that. Shutter it. So, like, the only games that we know for sure they're working on is Dragon Age Red Wolf and a brand new Mass Effect game. But they've had a lot of games that were, like, canceled or canned. Like I said, there was this Shadow Realms game, which was supposed to be a quote-unquote asymmetrical multiplayer action role-playing game.
What does that even mean, asymmetrical?
Well, I mean, asymmetrical multiplayer. I mean, this game was like,
that should be
supposed to come out in 2017 and like fucking canceled in like 2015 at the height of that. The asymmetric multiplayer elements were usually like one guy. It's like Dead by Daylight or something, right? One guy's the monster, one guy's not.
Oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Asymmetric. Okay, B. That was not an A. Son of a bitch, but I'll take it. B.
Chad, I'm gonna link you the Wikipedia article for this. Just get a get a loadser of it. Hold on.
I need like several million still. Actually, dual rocket launcher. I mean, dual bazookas, as God intended.
Big bada boom. But like this game was canceled in 2015. Look how much fluff there is that has like proper citations on Wikipedia about this. Somebody really cared, which is a shame because this game got friggin' canceled.
Hang on, let me click on this real quick.
There's a lot of work there. There's heckin' lore and stuff. There's a lot about the plot, not a lot about the actual gameplay stuff. Other than that, it was maybe going to be like a, third person co-op, and there's going to be some fantasy classes. I'm just like, yeah, I kind of see why this was canceled. You just did a lot of writing and didn't have a game to get in there. Good. Listen, I love stories. I'm a big reader. I like to read books. We play a lot of FGO. That's that like. When new story content drops in that, most of that story is delivered to you through the power of reading. I do also think that video games do need some game in there. One could cover for the other. We started, way earlier in this conversation talking about how, like, I don't recall people talking about, like, Armored Core games as, like, these bastions of storytelling, right?
Right.
Like, you don't need to have both a good story and good gameplay to sell. I think games are at their best when they've got both, but you definitely need one or the other for sure. And especially when it comes to like new IP that you're just making up whole cloth, you need a hook. Gameplay is often that hook, and that's usually where I would start. But I'm not a game developer, so I don't know.
Okay, I was using the close range one.
Man, this is fun. Wow. I'm just looking at these dates and I'm like, man, BioWare, you used to be cool. You just don't do anything anymore. I guess they keep the old Republic alive. That is still alive, right? They haven't shut that down? But like, I guess it seems like looking at this list that like BioWare and EA really wanted Anthem to be like their Destiny, Like this is going to be a weird action game that's going to be online. It's going to be a service game, and we're just going to run this game forever, just like Knights of the Old Republic. And that really didn't work because, I mean, I think this goes back to some of the narrative about Baldur's Gate 3, right? That they aren't a publicly traded company, so they're not beholden to certain kinds of like influences from shareholders and executives and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I feel like this is a thing. I mean, I'll say this. One, I know that it took EA a long time to learn that not every game can be FIFA, right?
Yep.
Because, like, let's be real. We must be honest. FIFA has, like, a loot box, gacha trading card system thing going on. Huge moneymaker. The amount of income that generated for EA is, like, unfathomable. It was, in business terms, incredibly successful. I don't know, like, exactly how or why. I guess it's a similar concept to the PNG waifu, only it's, just you really need that good kicker. And maybe they're also a hot guy. Listen, I'm not into football that way. I'm not that into American football either, but, I don't know. But it was really, really successful financially, and so EA was like, oh, this makes us stupid amounts of money. How can we make this amount of money with all our games? And they tried to bolt their loot box system into everything. And games that are not FIFA, it did not work. It took EA a few years to realize this. And I'm going to be honest, I would love to know why it works for FIFA and it doesn't work for other games. But it took them a while to learn. So I think that, like, EA has had this issue of just, like, we just try to slam buzzwords together, right? Like, I mean, even that asymmetric multiplayer tactical RPG or whatever is like, okay, sure. Those are words you used. But I think Anthem was definitely like they were like. Now, I mean, I want to be fair. I'm about to make a comparison here. I want to say some things about Destiny afterwards, so follow along with me, chat. But like, it feels like I know in like trailers and interviews and stuff, they tried to really sell that they had like a special, unique world with like cool and unique proper nouns and special things going on. I didn't care about any of that stuff. Nothing they put in trailers sold me on that game. I think how Anthem was first created, even if they won't admit this, was they were like, "Oh, this Destiny thing's doing really well. We need our version of Destiny. We need our version of Overwatch, right? We need a game that's in our core gameplay wheelhouse that's just going to be here forever, and we're just going to continuously make money off of it by like every 2 months we put out a new gun or a new robot suit or a new skin for an old robot suit. Sometimes we make the new robot suit like, you know, a lady in a bikini. I don't know. The Overwatch skins style of doing things. But like the framework was like, okay, we're just gonna put all the things that are hot right now into this video game and it'll be a success, right? We'll put loot and we'll put co-op and we'll put always online and we'll put cosmetics and we'll just we'll squidge it all together and people will do it, right? Because they like loot and they like giant robots, right? And people do like loot and people do like giant robots. But you need to build an underlying gameplay loop and an underlying setting that people are interested in.
Ah, down here.
Oh, there we go. Lucky's found the guy. Way down there. Yeah, I think I remember some of those stories that like when we were doing story stuff that like the Anthem devs didn't even know what they were doing. Like they rebuilt that game several times. They also committed, I believe, the cardinal sin of game development, which is this is something actually that got the 1.0 version of Final Fantasy XIV as well. They didn't pay any attention to their competition. Like EA and BioWare wanted a game to be a sensation on par with Bungie and Activision's Destiny. Now, you know, Bungie and Sony's Destiny, but you know, they wanted a piece of that pie, right? And then when they were in development, I think I read this. Was this a long? No, this was a long dissection article Jason Schreier did. This was not in his book. But also, you should check out Jason Schreier's book. It's good. I think Blood, Sweat, and Pixels.
Yep.
It's a story of I think how 6 video games got made. It's anywhere from like AAA titles to, you know, indie like Let me actually like run down the actual games that he talks about. Yes, they talk about you know, Dragon Age Inquisition is discussed there, so he's had a line at BioWare, but also it talks about, you know, smaller indie titles. Like he did a whole piece on how Stardew Valley and how Shovel Knight got made. So like it's really interesting and you should check it out. But like he did a whole big dissection of Anthem's failure later. And like apparently like the devs at BioWare were not allowed to like reference Destiny. I almost said density. They were not allowed to like study Destiny or reference it or like use it as a building block. Like their ideas were like, no, we want to look completely different from these guys. And when you do that, you fail to learn the lessons of those people who came before you. I played Destiny 1 at launch. It was okay. I referenced earlier I was going to say some stuff. Those guys had no idea where the heck they were going with story either, all right? Like, there's a reason why that quote about I don't even have time to explain why I don't have time to explain in there. That's because they didn't know what they were explaining. The game had, like, a huge story overhaul, like, a year before it came out, which is not a lot of time in game dev terms. They were doing, like, pre-production passes with the rest of the staff to try and, like, explain the plot, and even the people making the game didn't understand what the game was about, so they did a huge story overhaul to, like, streamline stuff, and that means that the game is very streamlined and, like, not as in-depth as it could be. But, yeah, like... So, like, they themselves understood that they want a little slapdash with some stuff. but they put in the work to like actually like shovel it out there, explain some things, get some work in, and like pay off. And they made it work over time. They revamped their like system of loot. You know, they did different cosmetics and stuff. They did an ongoing experience. Final Fantasy 14 is also another great example of this. The 1.0 version, the devs didn't really pay attention to games like WoW and Western MMOs, right? I think if you want to be generous, the best thing they were trying to do is they were trying to be like, okay, we made Final Fantasy 11, we made an MMO Final Fantasy. We want to try and like update that and do a new version of that without necessarily replacing that old thing, because Final Fantasy 11 is still going. I don't know what you do in it, but it still exists. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure they've got some servers turned on, which is crazy. Though not as crazy as the fact that I think the multiplayer servers for Metal Gear Solid 5 are still going. That absolutely bamboozles me that like somewhere in a basement Konami has a server running the netcode backend of that game, and like they have an intern come in like every month and switch out the like online events, right? Pretty nuts. Maybe they made a lot of money on Mother Base coins. Which, by the way, I personally assert Mother Base coins are diegetic. They are real. Big Boss and Kaz invented cryptocurrency in the 80s, and the Patriots suppressed it for 30 years. That's my personal headcanon. But, like, Final Fantasy XIV didn't pay attention to, like, what the rough lessons WoW learned from all their hard-ass work and stuff like that either. So they had a very rough launch. This was a major thing that Yoshi P, our Lord and Savior, when he literally saved that game and enabled it to go on for 10 gosh darned years and be, you know, massively award-winning, successful, highly rated, and also, I don't know, super fun to play. Pretty cool game, if I do say so myself. As I consider wheeling my chair around and checking how many hours I have in Final Fantasy XIV. It's a lot. I'm closer to 350 than 300 now. But like one of the things he did was deliberately with his staff, he had them look at like Western video games. He like took them out to buy games and play them and like show them what other people were doing, right? Like that's the key. Anthem didn't do that either. They had a rough launch, and they failed their Anthem Reborn gut check because EA was like, nah. And it's just kind of like I'm looking at BioWare's list of games right now. It's just sad. These guys made Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, Neverwinter Nights, you know, KOTOR, Mass Effect, obviously, Jade Empire, Dragon Age, and it's like, man, they really be petering out. And I assume that if they're doing like big layoffs after production, they probably don't have a lot in the can because they may be concerned that they will not, you know, be able to keep everybody on payroll through the rest of the dev process and releasing these games. But yeah, Anthem is just it felt like such a design by committee game, and it's so weird. Don't do that, by the way. If you're a AAA game developer owned by a mega giant publisher, you know, who generates more GDP than small countries, and you're listening to our podcast, I would like to remind you, don't design your games just by committee. You at best you will probably get a incredibly average video game that some people will play and may remember. You want to do good stuff, you need a little bit of creative vision, you need a little bit of spark. Obviously you need to keep the lights on, so if you want to like push out a few average games to like, you know, keep everybody invested, keep the home fires burning, that's cool. I understand. But like you gotta have real creative vision. Honestly, that extends to like tabletop stuff too. Like, you know, there have been campaigns that I think were like, okay, we've done some stuff, but like I think the reason why Red Markets, for instance, petered out was cool system, right? Neat, has some fun stuff, liked our characters, wasn't a lot of creative vision. You know, I was just like, I would like to try out Red Markets. I think it's a very easy game to pick up and play. Like if Dallas is like exploded or something, you know, I can kind of like roll some random tables to get started and then fill in the gaps and go from there. And like you guys will have set endpoints, but didn't have a lot of creative vision. It was just kind of like flying by the seat of our pants. And you know, we played it a few times and people were like, okay, this is neat. I wouldn't mind doing something else. whereas like Noblesse Oblige, our Reign game still in dev, that's got a lot stronger of a creative vision. One, because I, spent 6 hours walking you guys through like my like world building for dummies to summon creative vision out of you, the players, which has generally worked, I think. But also like that was really locked in of like, hey, I'd like to run a game that's kind of like Game of Thrones, where nope, can't go that way.
Nope.
Where like you guys are the members of a noble house and you have to do noble house things. And like I knew exactly what I wanted. You guys have provided me certainly with for the most part everything I could ask for in terms of building up. Getting some things has been easier than others. Sometimes your players are hyper focused and they're really interested in one aspect. Just make sure to at regular points gently remind them that you sometimes need things other than what they're focused on. I believe the way I phrased this for Reign is anything you guys want to care about, you give me some lead on that and some input on what you want about it. Otherwise, I will just work with whatever. It's not like completely true. Like obviously, the way I think I phrased that, like Axe talking about like the people of the Shattered Cauldron. I don't need him, and in fact, I probably don't want him to completely invent his own write-up for those people and what they're like, because that would just be like his input without like necessarily the bigger picture of the whole setting and like what you guys have said about themes. So like no matter what, those guys are important. I'm gonna write something about them. But since they are kind of his idea, if he has any specific points he wants to make sure are absolutely in, I need a little bit of that knowledge to make sure it's in the write-up, either now or during the edit process. The only real problem is if there's stuff that was not to spec when we get to the gameplay process and we skipped past the edit process. But we're still slow rolling a lot of this stuff to shake out.
It's a good cruising one.
Listen, it's okay. The sorcery thing is complex. I'm not really upset about it. I did. Ooh, Lexi got spider legs, or could buy spider legs.
I could buy spider leg tetrapods. Also, tank treads. Let's go.
Nice. That's some fun stuff.
Like I said,
Get in there.
I'm just working my way down through stuff, trying to see what I would probably use.
Yeah.
Oh, what
At
the
the
fuck
very
is
least,
this?
you can.
Oh, it's a grenade launcher. When did I unlock this? It's a grenade
Ooh,
launcher.
I've heard grenades are good.
Bada boom.
I mean, I'll phrase it this way, Axe. Like, if you, it's. I'm trying to find the best way to phrase this, but like, if you don't know, like, if you don't like have like just talking about the creative spark, right? If you don't have that like concrete idea, like if you can't put into words stuff what you're thinking about him, that probably means that the like that's not that locked in. But my main issue, and I've had this with several people, but also sometimes with Axe, my main issue is sometimes you do have very concrete ideas. You have very strong assumptions about things, and then you don't tell anybody about those assumptions. And so we have these awkward moments where, like, you assumed something was locked in and, like, did not bring up that part until we're in the middle of it. And I have to be like, no, that's not at all how that is. I have the facts right here. And you're just like, oh, sorry. Like, that's, again, once we get past the writing and the proofreading phase, when we get to the action phase, when we're actually in the game, that's when it gets the most awkward. If we can just catch all this stuff early, because we're still slow rolling, that's fine. We'll work it out. Like I said, no matter what, I will probably have to come up with some draft for these people, because just by the fact that you have made these Shattered Cauldron people real, you have very directly involved them with your noble house. We have picked Use as the heir of the house, and well, you picked yourself, but nobody fought you about a time.
Nope.
So we're here. I'm not gonna say you shouldn't be embarrassed. Don't feel too bad about it. I got the vibe about what you know.
Yeah, I know,
You're
but the
trying to
thing
look out
is,
there.
I think Axe is trying to put all his eggs into one fucking basket and to the exclusion of everything else. I'm not gonna say I was upset. I was definitely flabbergasted.
We were a little flabbergasted. I threw some notes out there when we realized earlier, chat, that because we didn't really discuss the actual character builds at the time. That part, the math part, came after 5.5 hours of other work. So I was a little tired. Okay, I think we finished session 0 at 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
I was not 100% all the way there. We realized currently that Axe's starting character, his prologue character, who is 16 years old, mind you, we figured out everybody's ages. It took a little bit, talking about having to cycle through some things to remind some people, but we got there. But Axe had hyper focused himself into already having 5D in his sorcery trait and his sorcery skill pool and 5D in his sense. So he is already rolling what is the maximum rollable amount of dice in the game. It took me a little bit to double check this, but the game, it does explicitly say it at several points. You can only ever physically roll 10D because once you roll more than 10D, you are literally guaranteed to find a match. There's no point in rolling. You will succeed. Other stuff is better handled through penalty dice and whatever. I have not yet found an exact line because, we had to make sure to prep for the show, and I've been kind of going back and forth and playing Armored Core as well. And like I said, I've had company over, so phasing in and out, getting some food, doing some stuff. I haven't actually found explicit notes that say what your hard cap is on stats and skills. I haven't explicitly found that. I've been kind of running with it that in normal circumstance it is 5, and it is 5 at character generation is your cap. Like I said, I do take this as a little bit of a mea culpa. I kind of assumed some stuff was understood because everybody involved in this game has at least read over Wild Talents, and everybody but Loth played Wild Talents. Most recent, definitely under Lucky, and obviously, like I said, I GM'd Wild Talents for Lucky for a long time. In that game, it's very explicit that you can't have more than 5D in a stat or a skill unless you have superpowers involved. So I was just kind of running on the normal stuff, and I'm like, sorry, I took that too much as a given. Should have been a little more clear there. The maximum dice pool is 10. Like I said, we were way more focused on the world building mechanical stuff. It came out now, before the game even started. Axe did, as he's saying in chat now, have a chance to move some stuff around, be a little more balanced.
Yeah, no, the thing was, if we were just playing a game and you weren't the heir of the house, I probably wouldn't have cared as much. But also, I just find it super weird that we're trying to play this game where we're, young heirs of a house, supposedly noble upbringing, and you had nothing, and I mean this, nothing in the way of social graces.
Yeah, and
It was
Axe said, because there's going to be the post-prologue points, he was planning on moving some of his later points there. You still have to play the prologue, I think, and I think Lucky has a good point there of, you are the young noble expected heir to the house, and before I think we settled on the 16 thing, there was talks about you guys being a little older, being in your later teens and stuff, and we've done a lot of, not only have we done a lot of on mic world building, we've done a lot of off mic world building, figuring out age ranges and stuff, just one of those things. Now I will say I posted some quotes there. The Rain book has a section on what they called character creation strategy, right?
Yeah.
It's got a little section there. I can track down the page number for you guys later, but you can just, also search it out in the book. But that does actually discuss hey, should you go, broad or focused, etc. I think the main thing, and Lucky's point about the social skills is that for physical stuff, no, certainly you are going to be the noble. You're going to be the heir to the house. Actually, honestly, people would probably be concerned with you if you did want to fight your own battles, Mm-hmm. On the one hand, yes, in case of emergency, you should be able to defend and look out for yourself in some way, and you may want to be able to defend your own honor. I think I had a comment earlier when Axe was like, oh, I think my character will only walk around with a cane or a staff, and I'm like, boy, you are really counting on your cousins and brothers to take care of any, personal challenges to your honor there, huh? And I'm like, listen, if... God! He's getting bullied.
No, this thing, you have to... This is Dark Souls shit. You can't dodge early. Like they tracked you until they fucking tracked you until like the last fucking moment.
Yeah. I mean, at the very least, this guy is optional. I know
This-
you're doing this for the money, so it's it's worth it to beat him. But this is a guy you don't actually have to beat to finish the map, which
No.
I appreciate. Oh,
Yeah.
you got him stunned. Get him. Get his ass.
Missiles. Etano Circus.
Missiles are fun.
I
I just love multi-lock missiles. I'm pretty sure they're not realistic. Oh, maybe they are. Like aircraft are limited by the fact that they have to like fly, so you got to watch out for like weight limit and aerodynamics. But it's fun. It's fun, y'all.
Axe. I know, like I'm gonna be the charmed one, but I can't. I can't be the face of your people.
Number one, that yeah. And also like I said, I know you don't want to overstep Lucky, but this is a little different than say like our 7 days playthrough.
Yeah.
We're all kind of working in different areas. I don't think anybody's gonna like if you roll a big pool of dice to like run or hide or like especially like the social graces skill. Nobody's gonna be like, hey, my niche protection. They're gonna be like, oh hey, thank God he rolled and is fine.
Yeah.
Like you will be the heir to the house, and that means that like I don't know, you're probably gonna have to talk to the king, possibly one-on-one. Like Lucky's character, Enoch, he's an important Enos, sorry, other way.
Enos.
Your K's are later in your name.
Yeah.
I'm working with that. Listen, as we've discussed, talking about letting things fall to the fore or go into the back, you are kind of personally taking a little more hands-off stuff with actually like what your immediate relationships with your people are like,
Yeah.
So like I haven't written Iron Devil names down a lot. I've been working on a lot of house lore. But like while as we've discussed, when it comes to like social clout in your social circles, Enos may technically count as an appropriate bannerman, like the leader of the Iron Demons. His father is, sworn brothers with your dad, the Lord of the Logi House. You discussed Lucky, and I didn't come up with a name for them yet, but you discussed like an idea that we can probably lock in at some point. That Leofric may have actually like promoted some members of the Iron, like actually given them lands and titles and made them like an actual banner house.
Mhm.
I think for status structure that would definitely work for you to actually be like, hey, I'm part of house so and so. We're we are technically retainers of this family.
I might be able to get me a little bit of status then. I didn't fully think about that.
Yeah. If you so choose.
I'm in.
At the very least, I think you would be given at least a certain amount of respect and clout being in not just House Logi's entourage, but technically being an ambassador for your people. Not every house, not every group you run into is going to take that at face value. It's not necessarily like a status bot thing, but like you're going to be able to exist in these spaces.
Mhm.
But there's going to be some moments where it's not going to be appropriate for you to speak for the house.
Yep. Also, Axe, I know you really want to. I know you really want to. This is a personal opinion, and this is only based personally on my thoughts and feelings on the subject. So do not take this as me yelling at you about like how things are. But I think you're focusing a little bit too hard on the spell casting, my dude. Like,
And take chat, internet. Take this with a grain of salt. This is a thing I saw on the internet in some conversations, but I have heard that allegedly, obviously, hyperfocus is a autism spectrum symptom.
Mm-hmm.
I've also heard that a part of this that's not talked about is that sometimes autistic people tend to have a kind of all or nothing nature. I don't know if that's necessarily an autism thing. That's definitely an Axe thing. Axe has issues sometimes with being either the cup is completely full or the cup is completely empty. Some of that I know with role-playing games, Axe, is your focus is you have played some games and you have played some characters where, whether it's just through bad dice luck or through fundamental mechanics, there are things that you want to be good at. You roll dice. Well, I bollocksed it up. I don't do the thing I want to do. This is a problem D&D and other D20 systems have a lot, for instance. So, like, I know you want to hit that bare minimum. I've talked with you before about how the bell curve of one roll engine and those systems work.
Like,
You know,
I believe, like, at, our age of, like, 15 to, like, 17, like, having a dice pool of 6 is perfectly okay and acceptable.
that's pretty average. I think.
I think that's, like,
I'll
a
have to pull up
55% chance of success.
Yeah,
I
you
believe.
remembered it better than I did. I was gonna pull up the have to find the graph, but yeah, I believe when you hit 60, it's over 50%. So you are slightly more likely to succeed than not. And obviously, like I said, 10D is literally 99 point something percent. Like the odds you will get a 1 through 10 straight on 10 dice is astronomically small.
And like, and if we're going on the and then if I remember correctly, if we go on the 1D on the 5D strat system, like 1 is below average, 2 is average. My character Enos's, my 2 good stats, coordination and charm, they're at 3. They're just at 3. Like, I'm above average at that. And I usually, especially at character creation, I like to match my skills to my stats, just because I like symmetry. Wait, where is it?
Yeah. And obviously, like you said, you can say that's a personal opinion, but I don't see anything intrinsically wrong with that idea.
Yeah.
Symmetry's cool.
Like the symmetry, but with wait, where's the damn bot? Is it over here? I think it's over here. But
Yeah, I've got to go down the line if I remember this mission right.
yeah, no, but there's like the secret. There it is. It's over. Wait, no, it's not here. Where the fuck is it? I'll find it later.
You'll find it.
But I think it's personally really weird for a 16-year-old to be a fucking super prodigy and like to literally have reached the pinnacle of human achievement by the time they're 16. That's a me thing. I think that's weird. Like,
Yeah. And I mean, like, if Axe wants to start with like, I mean, even if he wants, I'm not. It's mechanically allowed. I'm not gonna fight him if he wants fights.
yeah, no, if he wants to do it, I'm not gonna say no.
I'm gonna look at him funny because it does seem like a lot. But if he wants to have like a 4 incense and be like really really good, I'm like, no, that could be a thing. That could be like your character niche, right? Is like you, even as a young boy, you are very sensitive. You have sharp senses. That goes into a lot of skills that work with that. Is Eerie based on sense?
Yes.
Yeah, so like that gives you a good baseline with Eerie and like other sensing skills.
Can I get rid of
Empathy
him?
can also be very helpful as a lordling, right?
Mhm.
Like that's like I'm like, no, that's okay. That I can definitely see. That could be your thing. And like obviously, there's no way you're gonna be really good at everything.
No.
And I understand the desire to be good at everything. Like, and I want to say this, talking about you sometimes having a problem with all or nothing acts. Like, you type that thing where you're like, I don't want, like, quote unquote, this silly thing, to be quote unquote all for nothing. X, no matter what, it will never be all for nothing. You had an idea, you wanted a thing, you brought it into the world, you handed it to me. I'm like, okay, we'll go with there. No matter what, that is an integral part of the lore. I don't actually think it's that silly. It does actually, like, again, I haven't put all this to word yet, so I'm still shaping it. I don't know what the exact final form will be. But I actually think it's going to be kind of interesting that, like, that's not why in our backstory, Big Father, Lofric Logi did those things, but because of his, relationship with a cauldron woman, Crusade of the Cauldron, a cauldron witch, you guys like have an inroad with them. You have a diplomatic relationship, like presumably, because Axe didn't say that, and I see no reason to like Diablos like Machina him. Presumably, she had an okay relationship with her people. They probably have an okay relationship back with her, and she would at least know about like their culture and geography. That means you guys have like an extra trade partner sometimes. You might be able to actually go down to the Shattered Cauldron and give them resources in exchange for other resources, which is going to be interesting because you guys are on very different like climate and terrain planes, right? Like Shattered Cauldron's all the way down in that bottom corner. Like, there's a lot to there. Like, so no matter what, that stuff you wanted that stuff in, you brought it up, you set it up. That's not going to be for nothing. That's a part of the world now, and will have implications in being there. And I don't think that's silly. So like, you don't need to get in there.
Also, X, I know how you are, and I know you have failure. You will not be able to use your Veilcraft to solve every single one of your problems.
That is in fact literally what the book says about magic. That I have said this out loud several times, but I understand that like sometimes, and not just for X, sometimes for several people, I gotta lay it out a couple of times. But like this is the explicit out of game restriction is Greg Stolze says in the rules, he's like, hey, don't let magic fix everything. That makes magic users lazy and complacent, and it's boring. You want to be clever.
Yeah, so you won't be able to use magic to necessarily find out who did something in the past. You might not be able to use magic to, avoid a danger in the future. Because if you're going to find out everything from the past and figure out everything in the future, what story is there?
Yeah, what do we have to solve, And some of that will, again, depend on the spell building. Like,
Yeah. I'm
If-
still looking
if-
at that and being like, what is
if
this?
Axe does want more complex spells, and I'll just because we have schools of sorcery you guys aren't even invested in, but I want in the world that I want NPCs to do. There's gonna be some aeromancers, and they're gonna throw some winds and shit at you, and I gotta figure that out. And I do want to say I am, by the way, thinking I'm gonna categorically call that one aeromancy as kind of like an opposite to geomancy, which is the normal way we do that. I think that's funny. There's a decent amount of world building with picking names where it's just like, that's neat. I like the sound of that. Or that's kind of funny. I can say this because I've generated this name. The name of you guys is Court Tutor, who would be, all of the player characters' personal tutor. He's Canti the Bard.
Conti!
Yes. Which is a shortened form of Canticus, or Cantius, which is, late Roman, high Latin for, like, song. But I was like, okay, I could do Cantius. I was thinking he would be from Tron anyway, which is, kind of a more academic island. But I'm like, no. Let's spice it up a little. Let's bard this up a little. Canti the Bar. So like, that's cute. That's a little funny. No, he's not. He doesn't have a giant blue TV head. But if you thought about that when I said it, that's okay.
I did.
I know. So like, there's some work back and forth.
Just buying shit.
I mean, Axe, unless that's like a hard line for you, actually, the way I've written it previously, no, what you do is not different than what Ferretti does. There's one sorcery called Veilcraft, and you guys both have access to it for cultural reasons. What they actually do with it might be different, but you seem to be assuming a lot of stuff about Ferretti's, druids or whatever. I've just said that they're like fortune tellers and can perceive the unperceivable. Like that's still they're doing the sense stuff. I mean, basically, what I would like to put out is in the harshest and funniest way possible, but also I'm saying this is a joke, so I don't actually mean it that way. Ultimately, you guys are not going to be, beautiful and special and unique snowflakes, right?
Right.
Lucky is the closest to when people say the derogatory jokes about special snowflake characters. But even then, while he is special and unique in the group, he is not a unique individual. There's more of him out there.
Mhm.
They're doing other stuff. You're going to run into a few of them. They're not going to be in some areas of the game, like absolutely. I'm already thinking of the intro. Actually, I can say this. Yeah, it's not a spoiler. I'm debating how much stuff I want to preface because I like obviously we talked about like tone and themes and like scaling and like what kind of arc you guys want to have. So like I can't do the actual literal Game of Thrones twist, right?
Right.
Like I can't have you guys think this is one sort of story and then Big Dad gets his head cut off suddenly and you're like, oh shit, this is a different kind of story. You guys already know it's that kind of story, the second one. But like I have actually been rolling around over the past week or so, like what I think the prologue is in my head. So I've got the basic outline, so I can tell you guys if this helps guide you towards a conclusion here and keep everything together. My gist for what the prologue will appear to be and will start as is all of you are going to be bundled on a boat and you're going to the capital. This is going to be all of your characters' first time in the capital, because you guys are all old enough to attend the Festival of the Rising Dragon. Because the Rising Dragon is going to be the zodiac sign of Hydrus, the god of humans and blood and sun and stuff.
And stuff.
Being the god of being a cool dude, if you listen to the Pontifex Draconis. And yes, I have kept Dragon Pope. Lucky wanted Dragon Pope. I made it work.
I wanted Dragon Pope. That's a me thing.
I
If
can
you
say
think that's
content-
weird, blame me.
Listen, he said, he was like, hey, if all possible, can we keep Dragon Pope? I'm like, let me work on that. Pontifex Draconis. There we go. We're here. It works. But so like that guy's associated. Like I am personally like obsessed with star signs and asterisms a lot. And I don't think it ended up super important overall to Axe's personal character, but I know that he's also been going through a phase of like thinking about asterisms and star signs and stuff. We put a little bit of that in the background, but like every god's going to be associated with some sort of star sign or something. So there's the Festival of the Rising Dragon. It's going to be a 5-day festival that ends in the King's Feast. In between, there will be contests, competitions, carousing. And so, since you guys are, going to be in the 15 to 18-ish range, this will be your first time, going to the capital and having the possibility to meet with your peers, build relationships, business alliances, possibly look for marriage prospects. I suspect Big Dad's not going to be like hamming on that too much with you guys, but keep it out there.
Mm-hmm.
Keep your eyeballs going. Mechanically, you guys will have an opportunity to test pilot, to break in your new characters, and roll some dice to do some social stuff, some schmoozing, some dancing, probably some fighting with swords. There will be an archery competition. I don't actually know if there'll be a separate one for shooting,
I'll be okay with them shooting.
but definitely like with bow. There'll be a joust, which I'm sure none of your characters are going to be built for, because I don't think we said that horses are a big deal for you guys.
Up north, they're probably not.
Yeah. You have a lot of rough and uneven terrain we discussed, so yeah, cavalry's not your thing. You guys are either heavy or light infantry, basically, because you guys can afford big pants, armor, and weapons, and also light gear. But like, I was discussing while Lucky's coughing, they're discussing what I was going to say, like, about your uniqueness. I've already got the dialogue in my head of somebody saying to you, like, oh, hey, why don't you, ride in this carriage to the estate, because, the people around here will have not seen your like, sir.
Yep.
Kind of a thing, like, you'll get some stares, you'll get some zazz, but, like, ultimately... Go ahead.
Well, that's the thing that I wanted with the Iron Demons is, yes, I did want them to be special, but I didn't want all that specialness to be good. Oh, excuse me.
You do have the unwholesome disadvantage.
Yes.
Whatever it's called. Problem? Yeah, problem.
Mm-hmm. And that's just, that's just something I want, yes, I am a beautiful and fantastic, social courtier, but, I'm also, my people used to be, terrifying demons of legend, so
Yeah.
some people aren't over that, or some people just don't understand that, so yeah, I want that to occasionally just be a problem. And that's why I'm not necessarily putting too much thought into what the Iron Demons are as a whole, because I'm much more interested in dealing with how people see Iron Demons, I guess is the way to say it.
Yeah. And, like, the main thing I was getting at with this point, because it was talking about, like, the differences in sorcery earlier, was just, like, my idea is basically... you guys are not necessarily going to have, at least especially as characters, are not going to have access to anything that is exclusive and singular to just you as a character. You guys may have some, like, obviously, Lucky is of a different, species. He's from a different allied tribe. He may have access to stuff that only they have access to, or that's easier for them. But, will not necessarily be exclusive. Depending on how you guys, take things and where you go, that you guys may run into antagonists who are Iron Demons who do some of the same things that you do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure when that'll come up, but you never know with role playing and dice and characters and stuff. You never know what will happen and where people are going to go. And so, like, you guys aren't going to have, like, access to, like, exclusive weapons or knowledges or sorceries. Even other people will be doing some of that stuff. Some stuff will be, you know, based on how we've got it, will be edges for those characters and houses.
Interesting.
Um,
You ready to climb the wall?
oh, there's a big scooch. I don't think I saw his dramatic entrance last time.
Yeah.
As he zooms into frame.
Heavy mobile kit.
But yeah, like there's that kind of flexibility out there. And I mean, there may be opportunities for, you know, I have to actually check if there's anything like, I guess there are like unique assets and stuff, but if there's like unique items and whatever, if that like works in the rules, like, I don't know, does, you know, your dad have a cool legendary sword locked up somewhere you can inherit? I don't know. Is you know, Leslock gonna be able to do anything? Because legally, if he inherits, you know, a family cool sword, and I am banding around the idea that like the Lost Empire is like the source of like they had like, you know, wood steel, Damascus steel type stuff,
Mm-hmm.
so that like you guys can make really cool steel, but you can't do whatever weird process they did, you know.
Yep.
But you'd have some artifacts left over, so there may be some, you know, some special lost steel weapons lying around. You know, maybe if you guys have a family, you know, lost steel sword, that's cool. Technically that would be like a sign of the you know, the head of the household. So that means that like at least ceremonially it's a badge of Leslock's future office. So is he gonna use it? Is he gonna carry it? Is he gonna leave it in his study? That's fine. We'll figure that out. I'll think on that one later. But yeah, no, like I said, there's a lot going on. I'm still cycling through stuff. I am probably gonna have to give every sorcery school a like, you know, full write-up in the sense that we've got, like, I did upload you guys an example to take a crack at. And I said I may have to track down the setting book for Realm, not Realms, Reign. It's called Realms. Sorry, I'm also trying to process a little what's happening there. Did that guy, like, shoot one of his arm guns sideways to, like, power slide?
I'm not sure.
Or is that him just missing at you? I see that he's shitting out mines.
Yeah, beware mines. I'm not very good at the air control. If I'm on the ground, I'm usually a lot more mobile about dodging stuff. So when he just puts mines there, I get a little fucked.
That's honestly, that's probably just your part's preference.
Yep.
You probably have to rotate to be more air control, more cool.
I do have an air build, but I don't use it when I have to do heavy combat because I'm very
probably,
squishy.
yeah, probably. Yeah, I'm about to say probably because you're kind of skinny, kind of squish baby.
Hey, I got
Thin.
A. Nice.
Nice.
I'm getting there. I slowly improve.
Well, yeah, you know, hey, if you don't know what we're talking about, check out the session 0 for Reign, Noblesse Oblige. But yeah, that's going. I got profiles for all the houses. The way I tried to write it with basically all the different houses was I wanted to make sure to know what, like, the same stuff we discussed in the session 0, what their current generation is like and what their future generation is like. Like, the people who are going to be the establishment that you're going to have to deal with, especially in the prologue, but even a little bit after, because obviously, you know, as we've discussed in the session 0, something tragic is going to happen to your big dad, and kind of thrust you guys into the limelight early. But like, you're going to need to know who the establishment is, and then also, like, again, who your peers are going to be. Some of this is going to be taken care of in the prologue. I'm going to introduce characters to you. Some of them, I'm going to try and make you really want to punch them in the face. Because, you know, like you said, we need, you know, rivalries and stuff going on there. And also, you're all going to be, you know, teenagers, so everybody's going to be feisty. Teenagers with swords. Nothing could go wrong. And I generally tried to, like, futz together everything so that every house has, like I said, they have a economic niche, they have a military niche, they have their lands and stuff, obviously their own personal aesthetic and weird quirks. You know, try to give everybody a rough physical description. You know, give them some say what the stereotypes are so that you guys can, you know, choose to accept them or not buy into them. You know, whatever works. And give them some plot hooks. Some of them, you know, are interesting. Like, you know, there are a few houses that are kind of mirrors of yours. Probably the most explicit, like, mirror of your like possible future shenanigans is actually House Espada.
Mm-hmm.
They're very much a house on the rise.
This is a rather
Like right now, House of Spada in our backstory, they are a house that has a great deal of. you, Axe, if you, I don't even know if your house has a magic sword. If you want to be a Kane guy, that's okay. I set that up as like a thing. House Verity like has that old school like, or used to have anyway, that old school D&D verbotening against whatchamacallit, bladed weapons, you know, so they use like clubs and maces and stuff. But if you I know you actually said to have the cane sword. That's a thing you can keep in mind. But yeah, like House of Spada has like a great deal of political influence. You know, their current head of house is the, you know, Lord Chancellor, which is basically like the king's number 2. His full sister is the queen, the king's wife, the High King's wife. That also means all of his all of the current, you know, crown family are his nieces and nephews. Niece and nephews, one daughter. You know, and he's got like a lot of, you know, military power because that's kind of House of Spada's hat anyway. A lot of monetary stuff for other backstory stuff. A lot of political influence. But I set up that House of Spada has a tiny little bit of a succession crisis brewing. Because Stranton Espada, the head of house's heir, Rodrigo the Black Shield, he's not very well liked. He has issues because of his, you know, deceased mother, and like he's, you know, I mean, I call him Rodrigo the Black Shield, so you guys can picture what in the context of this, you know, La Belle Epoque kind of thing we've got going on here. What that guy is like. Probably get into some very Jane Austen territory, but also with more swords. So like he's not well liked by the people. So Stranton Espada's, you know, next in line child is, you know, his daughter from his second marriage, who takes a lot more after him and is more well liked. So it's I just phrase this in my backstory document as the general assumption is that she's going to challenge her brother for the throne when it comes to that. And it's like, yeah, that's a good conflict. That might be something that, hey, I can put player characters between, you know? Make you think about supporting one side or the other. Work out some shit. See what you feel like. But also, it kind of, like, mirrors your own internal crises. Not that actually, as we have pre-established, actually the characters would, you know, fight each other for control of the house, but on paper it's a thing that could happen. It's just that we're avoiding it because that's, you know, better for us. It is a giant fucking laser gun.
Oh, can I just gone under everything? I could have. Wild.
Ooh, yeah. Gotta remember your verticality. That's
Yeah, no, like apparently you just float on water. Or am I standing on land? I can't tell. I think I am. Oh, okay. Like,
yeah, it's I mean you're you know, like 2 stories tall, so
like I guess like I wasn't sure. Like I see this water, I'm all like, this looks deep, and then it's like, no, it's not actually deep.
we should just be happy there's liquid water on this planet at all. Didn't this planet catch fire? Some of that may have been metaphorical. But, you know, that's like I said, why in the prologue I ultimately decided on the kind of like big festival contest thing. There'll be a feast. There'll probably be a dance. There'll be some competitions of you know, physical, mental, artistic. You know, Enos can go to the slam poetry competition.
I do have performed
Throw it
singing.
That's good. I'll keep it in mind. I'm probably gonna have more events than you guys are gonna take place in, but that's, you know, part of the point. Get it spread out. You know, have you hang out with some of your own peers, your own crew. I mean, I think I can say that generally, at least, I'm pretty sure that most of your peers of your generation from your lands, your guys are gonna stay your guys. I'm not gonna say that you're not gonna be able to do stuff to like piss people off and make them want to like stab you in the back or the front during the gameplay, but generally you're probably gonna start with you know, pretty positive. There's social expectations here. Like, even if he is a giant nerd, like, Leslock's still the heir to the house. He's not getting, like, given swirlies in the back rooms at Stonehearth, okay? No,
sorry,
like I said,
just
that's
smoke hazing.
if you saying sense 4, knowledge 4. That seems fine. Like that's well above average, but you could be gifted. That's in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, it could be gifted. Why not?
Like you said, you are going for kind of the nerdier line. Hey, I mean that might even make Leslock a friend. The current heir of House Verity's, a quiet, scholarly boy. Maybe you'll get to meet him and you can hit it off. Or maybe you won't hit it off. Maybe it'll be like,
Attacking a watch point.
whatever the reverse version of the phrase of opposites attract is. The reverse is implied by the nature of saying opposites attract, but I don't think anybody actually says the other way around as a phrase. What does that guy have on his other arm? It looks like he's got a giant lamp.
It's whatever this fired right there.
You may have survived a little longer.
What? Okay, he's got like a weird electro ball gun. All right, it still looks like he's got a giant flashlight on his arm.
Survived first-gen augmentation. Don't think to assist him. Kill him before he kills you. No repair kits remaining.
God.
Sorry, breathy boy, yawny boy.
We're 619 and 620.
But yes. Obviously, don't, if you like Gensakai, don't fret. We're still working on that. We're having a great time. You guys are going to fight a giant chicken next time. It will be easier than this thing that you're doing right now.
I don't like this fucking plasma. It's way too wide. Oh, that probably means I need to do more air. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, jump up and get back.
Oh god, and he can close really fucking quick. Son of a bitch.
Long range? You can respec. It's a puzzler. I appreciate the flexibility, though. Yeah, figure out what you're doing. I mean, it's not that melee is not the answer. You haven't seen the actual first boss, but that spoilers. I think I said it already, but it's been like 3 hours. That's actually how you beat up the first boss in not Elden Ring. In Armored Core 6. That's the filtration. You have to learn how to fly up into the air and smack a helicopter with your sword. I know that may seem counterintuitive to some people, but sometimes you just need to get over there and you just need to beat ass. Remember the lessons the firework of Shibuya taught you.
Actually, can I try double laser pistol? That seems fun. Where's my other laser pistol? I don't have enough energy for it. Oof.
Do you have any bigger generators?
No.
Or do you cut energy from somewhere else? There's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of fiddly bits here, chat. I love this stuff. Also, the modeling work is beautiful.
This one's just a
like
little
real
bit
good
better,
stuff.
but
Love all this stuff.
If I go nothing on these, even with nothing, I cannot have two fucking. Okay, you guys are animals.
Okay, you must need to go really late game to get double laser pistols.
Well, I can't
I'm
do
sure-
double laser pistols with this with a light build. I could probably do it with a medium build. Like if I go, let's see, Melander. Let me grab that. Yeah. Even that's enough. Well, let me see here. If I change out to that and I change that to that will let me do it. And I do have a bit of low left over. Might have to hybridize a little bit here, but them's the breaks. And if I go too heavy, I won't have enough. Okay. Can I go with lighter arms then? See, this is the joy of Armor Core right here, is constantly. All right, there's a boy. Double lasers. Hey, Rick, double laser pistols. Let's go. A little bit less in the AP, but With this, I should be able to stay away.
That's the Watchpoint's control center.
Stay away from him easier.
Targets inside. Make your way in. Attacking a Watchpoint.
Yeah.
Sula,
More parts, more better, more numbers.
I'm sorry for you. I really do. You may have survived a little longer. C-124. Sula. He's an independent mercenary who survived first-gen augmentation. Don't think twice, 621. Kill him before he kills you. Where's 619 and 620? Dead? Which ones did I kill?
Oh.
Don't let him bait you. Focus.
AP at 50%. AP at 30%.
Also, I'm pretty sure these guys have way more health than I do.
Oh no, absolutely. That's just I mean, lots of video games are like that anyway, but also that's a FromSoft staple. Just like the vitality ratio to you.
One repair kit remaining.
The general vibes is usually, though I don't. PvP is in this game. I don't know how PvP is balanced. Like if they have to like flatten the curve or anything, but generally the way these sorts of games usually go is like players have a always much smaller pool of HP and armor, but you to compensate for the fact that enemies have a lot more than that. Like usually your damage scale is higher and faster. FG is kind of that way, for example.
AP at 30%. No repair kits remaining.
Just dancing with the bees.
Yeah.
Nice. Can't tell if it's just my preview or not. Chat, you can maybe let me know. There are times when it does kind of seem like it's the stream capture is jumping, like dropping a couple frames.
Sorry,
But again, I can't tell if it's just me ratcheting around or not.
sorry. Like especially that there was a lot of lasers and a lot of fire
Yep.
going around. So
Newman and Skuman. Slipping back and forth.
oh, I think we're about to do another boss fight.
Oh, back to back. Neato.
It'd be nice if they'd let me change my fucking mech right here, but I'll take what I can get.
Yeah, I guess you gotta wait to see if your mech doesn't work.
Destroy the device in the center.
All right. Well, we have been going for nearly 3 hours, and you seem to have a. No, yeah, it's definitely looking like some kind of plot thing's gonna happen here. I think I've covered all the areas, all the things I wanted
I think
on
so.
the show. Anything this week you want to mention, Lucky?
I don't think so.
We're done here. Head back to base.
All right then. Well, then we can probably wrap up. Like I said, I've been watching you ticking along, and I wanna get back to Armored Core myself. Get in there, get more parts, get more guns, shoot more missiles.
Oh. My eyes! That was the Red Mage LB3.
I was just thinking that because it was red and it was white. Now it's not a mecha game if you don't accidentally stand in a giant pillar of cosmic radiation. Once again, people at home, don't do that. Cosmic radiation's bad for you.
Have we made contact?
Okay, now we're getting some fucking story. Holy shit, what is this?
I am Air, a Rubiconian.
Now he's doing stuff.
Please, you must wake up
Wake up, Raven.
before your consciousness is forever scattered in the coral flow.
Alright. Well, I guess this is only chapter 1. I guess they were just like... Yeah. Anyway,
Just
more...
leaning into some stuff.
Yeah.
Some rainy pants doing some things. All right, we'll wrap her up.
621. Vital signs confirmed.
I don't got anything else to cover, and you know,
Establishing comms link with Henry.
Yeah, no, we can get on out of here.
Raven,
he'd like to do his mecha business, get into my mecha business.
identified an approach.
So, yeah. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and stuff.
I'll synchronize
Subscribe?
waves.
Subscribe? Not sure what I'm saying anymore.
Contact
Getting a little cotton mouthed.
Do I have AI co-pilot waifu now? Let's go!
Yeah, now you have to deal with a giant floating ball, though.
Yeah, I've heard people talk about this. This is, welcome to Gut Check number 2.
AKA the real gut check.
Mm-hmm.
I'm as someone who, like I said, I have gotten past those initial gut check bosses in a few FromSoft games. I don't count that helicopter as that. That is a boss for sure. It is a thing you have to learn how to do. It's not really that much of a gut check.
No, this is the Gut Check boss.
This guy's doing some bullet hell shit, so yeah. All right, well, we'll leave Lucky to that. And wrap her up. Like I said, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check us out on
Ooh,
Patreon.
this music is going hard, though.
Consider joining the channel. Ooh, I'm glad for that. I feel like the music has been pretty subtle so far. But From has very good soundtracks. Anyway, that's all I got for the show. We'll see you later. Check out Hollow Knight on Monday, because we are record on Saturday.
Oh, I'm sorry, Raven. Ah, my heart! Let's get out of here. Let's talk to you guys later.